disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing.
Lobito!
Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Well. Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast broadcasting to you live from the True North. Oh, it's a good friend, Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad that everybody could be on board for this one. Fellas, in this episode, we got a fantastic one because we had some fantastic fights last evening and last night, so we're going to talk all about that. We're going to be opening up the phone lines near the end of the hour, as always. And a lot of other surprises for everybody out there, a lot of other big news, supposedly. We're going to talk about whether those are big news or big disappointments. In any event, before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way, fellas. You know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so with the Super Chat feature. It's always better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. But the most important thing is to continue to like, subscribe, spread that BDA gospel, all right, fellas? Oh, and don't forget, you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and Spreaker at your leisure. All right, fellas. Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Senpai Leo. Shout out to him. Shout out to Spencer S, Little Joto, Frankie Sainz. Shout out to him. Shout out to Danny, Vince Vegas, Mueller's SSC. Shout out to him. Shout out to Two Matador. Shout out to the Quags in the house as well. Shout out to the Quags. Soothsayer in the house. Vince Vegas, Mueller's 27. Reverend Pickles in the house. El Único Cocho, Eparucua. Who else we've got here? J. Cole Bucho in the house as well. Gixer, Chris K, Electorazo, Killer Be Killed. Shout out to Salute to Killer Be Killed. And everybody else that might jump in. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Whoa, let me tell you something. The title of the preview show we did on Wednesday, I believe, was called Fireworks Saturday. Ooh, they delivered. Because I'm telling you, I was a little trepidatious about whether it was going to live up to the hype. In fact, I went to Matt Chats, and I told him, listen, I'm a little worried that the Wood versus Lara fight isn't going to live up to the hype. And in some ways, it didn't, because Wood was being smart about it and trying to box, as we suspected he would. But the result was nevertheless scintillating. And then, of course, Nery versus Hovhannisyan. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly, because he deserves every ounce of respect for the battle he put up last night. So we're going to talk about all of that plus more, like I said, fellas. All of that plus more. Hey, didn't these fights make up for some of the crap we've been having to put up with recently with boxing? I mean, last week, for example, Shanky Foster versus Ray Vargas. Yeah, they made a big deal about how much of an upset it was, but take away the story of Shanky Foster being a convict, or ex-convict rather. Was the performance really that good? Would people really be salivating over it if it hadn't been for that story that they tried to shove down our throats? No, this was boxing back at its best. This was the type of boxing that, if you want to get people on board, new fans, show them something to get them hooked on the sport. Last night and last evening, that's what it was all about, baby. All right, let me call a couple of people here, see what we can get started. Hold on a second. Ooh, shout out to Soothsayer for his contribution with the Super Chat. No message, but nevertheless appreciate the contribution there, Soothsayer. As always, always appreciate your support. All right, hold on a second. I'm going to take us to another room here because I got to call more people. There we go. Hold on a second. All right. calling all trains, calling all trains, calling all trains. Let me read a couple of comments here from the chat. Carl Frush did 80,000 Wembley Stadium, says some random. See, I didn't know that. You learn something every day, that's for sure. All right, we've got Bucho, we get the Jimarino, and I see Gonzalo's online, but and there we go, Gonzalo. Guys, can you see the screen that I'm sharing here?
Yep.
All right, fantastic. All right, so let's get started, fellas. I don't know who wants to start. We'll begin with the first fight of the night, chronological order. Mauricio Lara knocking out Lee Wood in the 7th round. Turned out to be a bit of a complicated fight for Lara, who seemed to be losing steam after the 2nd round. But it seemed as if the plan all along was to catch him with that one left hook. I don't know how smart that was, but I want to hear your thoughts, fellas. I want to hear your thoughts on the fight, the strategy, what happened. Break it down, fellas.
Hey, how's it going? Jimmy
Who wants to go first?
Mucho?
It's totally up to you guys. Who wants to go first?
Okay, I'm just gonna go. What was it? Friday, the prior show to Open Lines. I gave my thoughts. You know, I did a little bit of studying Mauricio Lara style. It was the left hook, man. The left hook, and he's got a right hand to couple that left hook with. But that left hook, man, it's got power. He knows how to turn into it. And I said, okay, the Lee Wood's a little bigger, so if he tries to fight on the inside, Lara's got the shorter arms. So when that fool was cranking up his hook, as Lara was throwing his, once you're like in kind of like deep water, 6th, 7th round, the guy with the shorter arms that's got like the better lead hook, it's Mauricio Lara. He was gonna get there first. So it was a matter of time. Time, and it's not just distance and timing. Sometimes it's opportunity. Sometimes you gotta lose rounds to win rounds. Oh, well, was Lara losing 4 or 5 rounds? Did he lose 3 or 4 rounds? Maybe. But if you're going tit for tat and you're winning one and the other guy's winning another and you're competitive, but then again you're holding your ground, he's holding his, and you're staying, both of you are staying tough. Hey man, you're barely gonna chip away at each other. But if you fucking let that dude work, and then you take a round off and you let him win, then let's say he starts getting tired. Then not only do you use your distance and your timing, but you use you take the right opportunity to seize the moment. Bam! That's what Lara did. Waited till he got a little tired and exchanged hooks, and he got there first. So you tell me, was he losing? Yes, maybe. But if they fought 10 times out of 10, I say Lara knocks him out 10 times.
Oh.
That's basically it.
Well, that's interesting right there, man. That's interesting. But hold on, were you a little worried for Lara if you were indeed rooting for him? I don't know. But were you a little worried for him that, hey, he kind of lost a lot of steam after the 2nd? And I mean, he was landing jabs, though. Don't get me wrong. He was landing some head-snapping jabs. But it seemed like a risky strategy, no? Kind of Wilderish, Deontay Wilderish, to say, hey, I'm going to bank on one punch to take this guy out.
Well, you know, weight classes, they do matter. Guy hits hard. I'm suspecting, because like the trainer came on, and there's a video that I posted on the Discord. And remember, guys, the weigh-in, when he stepped onto the weigh-in, when Lee Wood stepped onto the weigh-in, I think he raised his arms, and like the scale was moving back and forth. And then the fat dude, Lara's trainer, told, hey, hold on. He tapped him on the back. Hey, Lee Wood, can you get back on the scale? And then Eddie Hearn came to the fucking rescue. No, it's all right. It's all right. So the dude, I don't think he made what was the division, 126? And he probably rehydrated to like 135, maybe 140. He was bigger. So it cost the smaller man a little bit to find the right punch to get the bigger man out of there. So it must have been somewhat frustrating, but eventually got it done. So that's basically it.
Good breakdown. You did predict stoppage. I mean, that's what Lara does. You know, that's his bread and butter. Who else wants to go ahead, man? Jimmy or Bucho, you guys...
Jim, I'll just go ahead quickly. I'll just go quickly about the fight. It was a great fight. For some reason, Lara started to slow down after that knockdown. After he after he hurt Wood in the 2nd round, he started to slow down. I don't know if he was getting tired, or people are telling me that he was maybe part of a plan or something. He was waiting for a punch. the commentators were saying that he was breathing through the mouth. I didn't really see that, but I did see him slowing down. So I don't know. I don't know what was happening there. But every time Lara was hitting Wood, he was actually hurting Wood. When Wood was hitting Lara, he wasn't really putting on that much damage on Lara. So that was a big difference, and that's why I always kept this idea that at some point Lara is going to stop this guy, just because when he actually lets his hands go, he's actually hurting Wood. And about the stoppage, I think it was a good stoppage because he was out basically, and he wasn't going to do anything after that. Again, the punches that he was throwing weren't really hurting Lara, so it was just a matter of time for him to go down again. But what do you guys think about the stoppage, though? Because it seems like it's controversial.
No, I think he gets hurt, man. He takes one more punch. There's 10 seconds left. He's gonna land a punch or two, and the guy throws a mean hook, dude. He was at his mercy. The guy saved him to fight for another day to the coach. So it's all right, man. Unless people just want to see him get fucked up.
Well, why not? Jimmy, what did you think of the fight and the stoppage?
All right. Well, I'll address the stoppage right away. I went back and looked at just what's his name, Ben Davis, his reaction. He reached for that towel. He was reaching for the towel before Lara got up, Wood got off the canvas. So he was reaching for that thing before he even saw if he was stumbling or anything, like he panicked. He was sitting, first off, on top of the apron, which is outrageous. Mm-hmm. I can't believe. And he had the towel right there, and he reached for it and went to throw it right away. Like he grabbed it, you could see his body hurl, lean forward, and like he said, then he waited from the start to count, and he waited for the count to go over. Then he said, as brought him together, he whipped the towel off the ref's fucking head, right near his hands, which was kind of funny. But his first reaction was to throw the towel. And they said, well, he knows his fighter. How the fuck does he know his fighter? Didn't he just start working with this kid a couple of fights ago? He's never really seen him hurt before. But here's the thing, the situational awareness. When you have 10 seconds left, absolutely Lara is probably going to land another shot. But as he charges in, you don't try to fight him, you fucking tackle him. Clearly, the ref had no problem with Wood grabbing Lara every time they were in close, because he did it all night. Anytime they got in too close or Lara started throwing punches, that was Wood's defense, was reach out and grab him. So I'm not saying it was a bad stoppage. It didn't keep him going. Yes, but if I was fucking Wood, I'd be furious. He was, when your fighter's got enough wits about him to be angry with you, if they're still trying to fight and they don't know what's going on, you're like grabbing him, guy, it's over. What? But like right away when he saw the towel, he turned like, what the fuck you doing? He might have been on Bambi legs, but mentally he was still there. I was there enough that he could have easily grabbed out and grabbed Lara. Now, when there's also factors that go into that, if he was behind the cards or if it was close, you'd say, do I want him to take pounding for another 4 rounds to see if he pulled it out? But if you were to listen, I didn't see the actual official scorecards, so I don't know but if you listen to what those guys, I mean, they only gave their guy who scores the fights for him, gave him 1 round, gave Lara 1 round, so he was clearly. Yes, brother. If you're winning a fight, let's say Wood was winning the fight. Let's just say he was. No, he was taking damage in the process, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So you start to factor that in. Like, okay, do I allow this guy? He just got dropped. Like his head bounced on the canvas when he fell down, right? He was a bad knockdown. He got back up, yes. But you start thinking, okay, do I let him? Do I gamble here? Right? And okay, he might win maybe the next round again, maybe, but he's gonna take punishment for sure again, because that's been consistent throughout the whole fight. He's taking shots. His face is like if you look at Wood's face, it looked worse than Lara's face. So even if he was winning the fight, he was the one that was taking more damage every time. Absolutely. And to your point, I was going to actually what you said about the second round. The fight changed in the second round. It absolutely did. Go back and look at the mustard Lara Wood was putting on his punches in the first and second up until he got hurt. And then he changed. And then there were arm punches. in the way I've described, Plant not putting his weight over the front of his feet, like arm punches, pop, they could be quick. The reason why he was getting to Lara, it was able to hit him with those 1-2s and keep catching Lara with that right hand, and Lara would just shake it off. It was clearly not affecting him because they were arm punches. It hurt Wood bad enough in the second round that he was fighting not to get hurt. You see what I'm saying? Like he might have been landing and winning some rounds, but he wasn't putting anything on those punches, because to put stuff on your punches, there's the trade-off. The more you put on your punch, the more vulnerable you are to get a counter. So because you're in a certain body position, you could jump back quick. You saw how jumpy he was. Like if he missed with his punch, he was jumping backwards. So he was absolutely nervous of his kid's power. That kid, a lot of cracks. There's no doubt about it. He puts his weight behind it. I didn't see him breathing through his mouth either. I think that was homeschool cooking there for the announcer, who was ridiculous. I don't know who it was. If it was Bellew, but I thought it was horrible. If you put it this way, if you weren't watching that fight, because there was a couple of rounds I had to go in the other room, but I had a headphone in, so I didn't see it. Right, and then I'm like, wow, I must have fucking gave him a tool, and then it puts up the punches, the connect ratio, and Lara outlanded him by it was 46 power punches to 17 at the end of 4 rounds. I'm like, how are they giving? I mean, if you would just listen to him, it was a whitewash. So yeah, clearly it was British announcers, a British fighter, and they were pulling for him. That shit's got to stop, because it doesn't do anybody any good to have such biased fucking announcing, because you look like a donkey when your fighter's getting scraped up off the canvas the way he did. They never credited Lara's power. But anyways, Gonzalo, I know you want to say something, so fire away, brother.
No, I was just going to say, are you for certain, you guys, anybody, even the people that are listening, was it a headbutt? Because I don't trust and I don't believe the British announcers, the people that are narrating the fight.
Headbutt. I showed the replay and it did look like it was a headbutt.
Okay.
Lara came in and...
Hey, can I say something about, first of all, I got to read a super chat here. Shout out to Surseer. He says, LT, ¿dónde estás, Mayatera? Oh, Surseer is going after LT for some reason. We need to set up a Surseer versus LT debate pronto. I talked to LT yesterday, so maybe I can get in touch with him again and see if he wants to. I don't know what they would debate about, but as long as it's entertaining, why not, man? Second Renaissance. But shout out to Surseer for his contribution. Let me tell you something about the stoppage. I agree with you guys. I think it was I've been saying it all along for the past couple of years now. It's these guys, these boxers, they signed the dotted line. They know what business they're in, and that is the business of violence. And a lot of them, if you ask them, how would you like to go out in life? They go, fucking under fire, baby. That's what they would tell you. They couldn't think of a better way to go, most of them. And so when you stop a fight that way, look, one knockout punch isn't going to kill the guy. We know what kills guys usually in the ring. It's a long, prolonged beating from a guy that hits hard, but not hard enough to lay you out with one shot. So if Wood would have been laid out, okay, maybe he would have been seriously hurt. But hey, give him the chance. He's a big puncher too. Why not? That being said, he was on Bambi legs. I would have paid good money or bet good money to say that Lara would have got him out of there. Maybe not that round, but the next. When you're that wobbly, I think that's what Ben Davison looked at. But may I also say something about Ben Davison himself? Look, I don't think he's as bad a trainer as people make it out to be. I think he's an easy target for a lot of people. But that being said, he does seem to get overly friendly with his fighters, almost like he gets to their level. It's like they're friends. They go out to eat. They go out and he's driving around with Tyson Fury in his Lamborghini or whatever car it is. And I'm thinking maybe there should be a division between trainer and boxer. And yes, the trainer is the employee in a lot of ways of the fighter, but he also paradoxically he should also be the boss. And I think he gets a little bit too friendly with the fighters, man. I think he panicked in a way because he's too friendly with Lee Wood. They look to be about the same age, by the way. So maybe that type of rapport led for him to pull the trigger a little bit too quickly. I don't know. Listen, I've never been in that position where a guy seriously hurt that like that, and I have to decide whether to throw the towel in or not, especially in a professional boxing fight where you have more leeway. It's a more violent sport. You let him go. So I'm ambivalent about it, but I think he made the right call, but I don't like this new thing of fighters and trainers being that friendly, if that makes any sense.
It's situational awareness, too. There was 10 seconds left in the round. You tell how easy 10 seconds go by when you're tying somebody up, because the ref, of course, he's going to do the extra long, push them far apart, and, once they tie up. And could he have survived? I don't know. I would have given him the shot and then assessed him between rounds. Like, give him an opportunity to make it to the end of the round. If he does, I mean, one more shot's not going to kill him. Might knock him out, but oh well, it's boxing. You get knocked out. Like Mr. BDA said, it's the accumulation of the swelling of the brain of taking too many shots is what kills you. Extra shots might affect you later in life. You might, like Mickey Ward never got stopped, but he deals with pain of, being punched in the head so much. He's dealing with, ramifications of it now. So it does have an effect later in life. Personally, I would have given him that 10 seconds to make it out because he was aware enough that he was instantly angry. And going forward, we will know how angry he was. If we find out he's now changed trainers and no longer with Ben Davis, then we'll know that he totally disagreed with it. If he's with them, then he might be angry that he stopped, but he can see his point. But here's another problem. Ben Davis isn't a fighter. He was a personal trainer. He's probably never been punched in the face in his life. He has no idea. That's why he panics like a girlfriend. Like you said, he's like, oh, who's the towel? He got knocked down. He was ready to fire that towel the minute he went down. Go back and watch it. Actually, somebody chopped up the video for me and sent it to me, and I can send it. It's in clip, but I can't send it. It's too long. But
somebody chopped it
Gonzalo,
up.
you
Nice
about to say something again, dude?
Real quick, can I just say something real quick? Real quick, Gonzalo, real quick, just an aside. Never Sobers makes a good point, though. He says the guy doesn't have to be dead for the fight to be over. So that's another point that we could look at later. But yeah, go ahead, Gonzalo.
It could also be that Bronco Lara is regarded as a puncher. I was looking back a little while ago at the fight where he got hurt to the body against another Mexican. Did you see how Lara knocked out that dude? It wasn't like the knockouts of 2022. That was a brutal fucking knockout. So he's got a reputation of being a monster puncher at 126. That maybe that's why, man. They don't want to get their fighters hurt against this guy.
Gonzalo, great point. And this is something someone mentioned when he was saying I was on the CCD live stream there. And somebody said this isn't Devin Haney that knocked down somebody, and then here comes Devin Haney trying to finish. He's going to try to finish off the opponent. No, this is Lara trying to finish him off. A guy that hits very hard, right? And maybe as well. I mean, this is all speculation, right? But it could be also that the guy's name, Ben Davison. He's taking a look at Wood at the end of every round, in between rounds. And he maybe noticed something, right? And he's like, something's not right. His face is swelling, blah, blah, blah. And then, in addition to that, he sees that fucking knockdown. Maybe for him, that was the how would you say the drop that, what's the expression with the glass and the...
the straw that broke the camel's back.
The straw that broke the camel. Let's say, exactly. That was it. You know what I mean? It was an accumulation of things. It wasn't just that knockdown that made him real. I gotta stop it. And it was an accumulation of punishment that was happening in that fight.
You were thinking of the Spanish expression with the glass, because I don't think it translates to.
I'd say Mexican. I don't even know it in Spanish. But anyway, it could be that. I mean, we don't know.
Hey, Senpai Leo, shout out to Senpai Leo for his contribution with the super chat. He says the second Renaissance debate I want is Foca versus Fighter Spirit. Bad stoppage, but at the same time, Lara is a savage, so that could have been dangerous. Well, Bucho just brought up the good point too. It's like maybe I still contend that Ben Davison, like Jimmy said, he's not that. He can't put himself in the shoes of a boxer because he was there, and also I contend that it's because he's too friendly. But maybe Bucho's right. Maybe he did something because I mean, who's closer to the fighter during a close battle than the trainer? Now, here's the other thing though. Lara, one thing I do know that I didn't like, that I disliked, was him spitting at Warrington after the fight. Now, he said, hey, listen, I spit on him because the guy pulled out of the fight, headbutted me, a whole bunch of hijinks. But I don't know. I think spitting on a guy, it's I don't know, that's animalistic. What do you guys think?
Oh, it's low class, man. You don't spit on somebody. But I don't know what happened there. Apparently, they really hate each other. Also, it could be, matchroom... or maybe he's trying to set up that third fight. Maybe he's trying to create some animosity to promote that. So, I mean, but I don't think you should spit on anybody. If that's what happened, no.
It's a felony.
Supposedly he disrespected his father, Lara's dad. That's what was mentioned as well. Go ahead.
I was gonna say no, man. I would have fucking that's gross. Someone spits on me because you don't know what the fuck, but. hepatitis and shit. But yeah, I had to freak the fuck out for real, dude. But yeah, no, that's the reason why it's a
Hey,
felony.
Jimmy, if a prisoner did that to a guard, what will happen?
Oh fuck, dude! Shit me, cameras are off. Cameras are off. He's gonna get a visit. Plus, on top of that, he's gonna get 10 days in the hole, and he'll get a year added to his sentence for it's a felony assault to spit on a correctional officer.
And he admitted it too. No, they asked him, and he did like this little like fucking funny ass grin, and he's like, "Yeah, I'd spit at him." He's fucking ruthless. No,
that's the way they do it.
Crazy, dude. El Bronco.
That's the way they do it in Tepito.
Yeah, he's the devil. Isn't that his name? They call him the devil.
Well, he came out like the devil. Fucking red fire. God, man, that was scary
his
stuff
nickname
right there.
Wasn't his nickname? Was he the guy they called the devil, or was it a different Spanish fighter? Because I know there was a Spanish fighter they called the devil last night.
The spitting devil.
The devil.
That's what they gotta call him now.
Pantera. And this is El Bronco. He's fucking crazy. Like he reminds me of those characters from the Apocalypto movie. Apocalypto.
Yeah, that's true, man. Come on. Hey, I think we've got Lara on the line. Hold on. Yeah, Mauricio, ¿qué quieres decir? Come on. Lara, what's wrong with you? But listen. No, but
he's like the crazy dude on the movie Apocalypto when they're all tied up to a like a bamboo stick, and I don't know if it's a bamboo stick. I don't think so, but they're all tied up together, and then there's one guy that's like making fun of the prisoners.
Oh, maybe.
In the fucking Apocalypto.
Almost. Yeah, that was the guy's name in the almost, because he told him almost. Remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, shout out to Never Sobers for his contribution to the super chat. He says, some people, spitting on people is disgusting unless you're with a dirty girl in the sack. Oh, hey, that's absolutely, Never Sobers, you're absolutely right, man. If that's what she's into, hey, acquiesce. Why not? We're here to please. But yeah, that's the thing with Lara. Butcher, you were making a good point, though, on what rep is last night, where you say, wait, I mean, how many times does Lara have to go to England? I know that's where the money is, but you can only fight so much abroad until maybe they try to pull something on you. Try to pull the wool over you or the rug from under you. Could be from both angles. What do you think about that, fellas?
Well, it's you guys notice there's not a lot of fights. You would think because Mexico and Mexican Americans, definitely here in this country, are the driving force behind pay-per-views and everything. I mean, without a doubt, that's the one ethnicity, that's the driving sport. Like you'd say Canadians is hockey, Mexico is boxing. And I always was wondering why they don't have more fights there. And when they do, they usually are a big one. Like they'll have the regional shows, within a month, Mexicans, but why don't they have these big fucking huge fights there? Someone says because the insurance to underwrite the shows because of the cartels and that type of bullshit and people traveling there. I don't know how true that is. That's what I was told. I think if that's the case, that's pretty fucked up because it should be. It sucks that Mexicans always have to travel. There's a lot of Mexican Americans in America, but still, it's not. If you're from Mexico, there might be a lot of people, Mexican Americans, but they're not your countrymen. I would like to see, definitely, that's just my opinion, there should be more big shows held in Mexico.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man, on that one. Now, last note on Lara before we move on, or last note from my end, rather. Lara versus, I tell you who he should stay away from, though, Lara. Stay away from Mark Magsayo and Ray Vargas because Magsayo, I think he could beat Magsayo. Don't get me wrong, because Magsayo did struggle with, I forget the guy's name, Lopez or whatever, that he went to war with him and almost took out Magsayo, and Navarrete hits harder. But Magsayo's the guy that he's a good counterpuncher, he's composed, and he hits hard. And he's a better fighter than Lee Wood. So, and of course, Vargas is just way too tall, way too fast. He's not going to have to deal with a guy that's just looking to pot shot and clinch in there in Lara. Lara's going to play right into his hands. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, they're both with the same fighter. I mean, manager, right? Aren't they both managed by Sean Knucklehead Gibbons? I know I saw him in Lara's corner last night. Isn't he Magsayo's guy too? I know he does a lot of Philippine fighters and Mexican fighters. But I'm pretty sure, I know he's with Lara, but isn't he also represents him too? If he does, it'd be a much easier fight to make, clearly, if it's with the same people.
But could it be made, though? Because
I'd say he takes some punches.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Gonzalo. There's a delay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I saw Sean Gibbons hanging around, but I defensively he takes some punches, but offensively, you see, they stereotype and they characterize all these Mexican fighters like when a Mexican fighter fights, especially if he cracks, oh well, he can't box or he's wild. When it comes to Lara, aesthetically, I don't know what you want to see, but I'm gonna say something. When he throws that lead left hook and he couples that right hand right behind that lead left hook, it's quick. It's quick. It gets to the target. So when it comes to like he meeting fire with fire, yeah, he's gonna take some punches, but he's gonna sneak in his lead left hook. I made a reference to Ryan Garcia, but guess what? Not only is he landing the lead left hook, he's landing the right hand in tandem right behind it. So this guy's gonna get his licks. And on Magsayo, hey, I know I just mentioned stereotypes, but let me say something about Filipinos. They tend to get a little wild, man. They tend to get a little wild in the fucking ring.
Wait a minute.
And hopefully that's not the case with Magsayo, but I've seen him throw big shots. So I think if he trades with Magsayo, hey, Lara lands his lead left and his straight right. And he's got big power, man. I'd say he's pound for pound one of the biggest punchers right now in the sport.
That's for sure. This guy can crack, man. Jeez Louise. Well, that's it about for those fights, man. I mean, there's a 126 right now. It's loaded with talent. I mean, Vargas, Magsayo, Lara, Venado Lopez, Lee Wood still in there, Josh Warrington still in there, Kiko Martinez, who's been around forever, Robeisy Ramirez and Isaac Dogboy, who are going to be trading blows in a couple of months. And then you got Michael Conlan, who, well, I mean, he's not entertaining, but maybe his style could be tricky too for Mauricio Lara. I don't know. Now, let's move on to the 122-pound division, because we had another banger last night on the zone, and that was Hovhannisyan versus Luis Nery. My goodness gracious. I was questioning Nery's heart, because remember, he caught a lot of corners back in the day. And I like I said, Hovhannisyan, he's a guy that he's a tough fighter, veteran. You look at his sparring sessions from the wild card, this guy just doesn't relent. And I said, Nery's going to have to beat him up with something if he wants to deter him. And beat him up he did. I mean, just power punches up the wazoo. But of course, Hovhannisyan never got discouraged. He always kept stringing combos together, snapping Nery's head back. Guys, what did you think of this fight? Oh, of course, and sorry, Nery ended up stopping him in the 11th round. Well, what did you guys think of the bout?
Yeah, fight of the year. For me, man, so far, it was a really good fight, back and forth. You know that Hovhannisyan guy, he came to win. Whatever the corner was telling him, do it for your family. That guy had the balls, he had the will. But he hits hard like Nery said, but he wasn't like a monstrous puncher. So Nery was the guy that punched harder. But I think Hovhannisyan was winning the middle rounds and probably was ahead on the scorecards because he was taking the fight back. But then the power showed up, man, the fucking left. It was a night of left hands. Yeah, but it was a real good fight. Nery gained my respect back because all the things that you said, not making the weight, going over to Japan and like showing a questionable heart. Here definitely earned my respect. Plus he's got like that dry personality that you could put him in the Caleb Plant Club and maybe a little bit of Canelo Alvarez, just kind of rubs you the wrong way, kind of like serious and says things kind of in a manner that, is like, man, what the fuck's up with this dude? But hey, he's all right. He's from Tijuana too, so what can I say?
He looks like an Arab or like a Middle Eastern. Doesn't he remind you, Gonzalo, of some of those guys that you had to watch out for back in the day in Iraq?
Yeah, he does. yeah, the personality too, man. You kind of have to wonder, man. Those guys are different. Like Arabs, when they talk to you, they get real close and they like they speak under their breath. Yeah, they shake only with the right hand. It's a disrespect if you shake them with the left. They're real sneaky, and he seems different, man. Like I don't know where his lineage, his family tree he comes from, but he's from Tijuana. He's Mexican, but a lot of people from Mexico come from different places, so it's just interesting to know. His features look a little Arab, not just the beard.
What everybody else, Jimmy, Bucho, what do you guys think of the fight? Well, I'll tell you this though. Oh, go ahead, Bucho.
It was a good fight, and I I think Nery could have actually be more cautious and box from the outside edge, but I think he wanted to make a statement. And not only that he wanted to make a statement, is that he wasn't being hurt by the Armenian guy. I forgot his name. I can't pronounce his name.
Hovhannisyan.
So he was duking it out there, man, because he wasn't feeling the power. But was it the right decision? As a fan, I think it was, because I think it was a very exciting fight.
Jimmy, I don't know if you want to go, man, but if not, I'll add my comments there.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, no, it was a great fight. I didn't have high expectations, because remember when Figueroa, didn't he spark him out like in the 6th or 7th round, Nery?
Yeah, with a body shot.
What's that?
With a body shot.
Yeah. And what was that about Japan too, right? When who did he fight there? Was it Payano?
I forgot the name of the guy, the Japanese guy, but he failed to make weight, and I think he'd been caught with using a PED, and then in the rematch he didn't even make weight. Well, I think I'm inverting it, but either way, for sure, one fight he didn't even try to make weight. He was overweight and knocked the guy out brutally, and then in another one he had PEDs in his system, and
Yamanaka or something.
Yeah, Manaka. Yeah, Shisuki, Shinuski or something. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, but yeah, no, it was a good fight. It's a good fight. I still don't know if I mean, obviously there's a tops of that division. I still think that I don't know. Do you guys? What do you rate him? Because like at 126.
What is his name? The Snake Mora was all like he was like fanboying for him like really really fucking hard, talking about he's a real good boxer and he makes all the other Mexicans, he's not your typical Mexican boxers. So basically popping this dude and throwing all the other Mexicans under the bus in regards to his style. And I was looking at his style, and yeah, he looks good. He fucking knows how to box, and he can also crack. So he's a mixture between a boxer and a puncher. You could kind of like say he's a little bit like Regis Prograis. He can mix it up. He definitely got power. But he also catches some punches as well, man. He catches a lot of punches. So for one thing, when Sergio Mora was going crazy, it's like referring to like, oh, his fucking style is like super like really, really, really nice. It's like, okay, yeah, he's good. But I'm more impressed by his power, man. He's fucking got serious power with that lift. And
well, you know what?
Yeah, he's real good. He's good.
I also just said 126. I meant 122. I just want to correct that because I said 126. Anyways.
Well, he was one thing I did notice was that he was relying on, at some point, especially after the knockdown, he realized, okay, I'm going to catch this guy with another shot. And that's all. So he was kind of like Butcher said, I think he was looking for the knockout from about the middle rounds on. He said, okay, this is the plan here is going to be able to, is going to be to knock this guy out. Risky strategy, absolutely. But hey, he pulled it off. Now, some people also might be complaining about the stoppage from that one, a little bit too early. That one I will agree with because Hovhannisyan was fighting with so much panache. I mean, I agree that I would have wanted to have seen it go on. But at the same time, it's when you're that wobbly-legged and you just got dropped bad and your head's getting snapped back, that's what referees look for. If you're wobbly-legged, unsteady, and your head's getting snapped back that much, that's an indication that you can't defend yourself properly anymore. And most referees will stop the fight unless you get a Steve Smoger, Frank Cappuccino type guy from the 1950s and 60s. Defend yourself at all times. Otherwise, fight gets stopped nowadays. These guys are afraid to get sued or something. I don't know.
Well, I think there's been I think honestly the refs, I've been seeing it all over this country. I talked to Steve about it, and what he heard, I believe, was that there's a lot of commissions have got on the refs about like, you see any sign, stop it. They've talked about it because because they see what's going on in the NFL, dude. You saw what happened with that dude who had dropped in the field. They just. The culture right now is to come down of, you know what I mean? They don't want cancel culture, putting them dead in their eyesight. So that's probably why they're like, a lot of commissioners are like, we don't want to be the one to like come out later and say, well, if ref would have stopped it. But yeah, I know it was also too, if maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm remembering this wrong because I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but wasn't it Nery who turned down the MJ fight? Am I correct in saying that? Was it Nery who, I'm trying to remember. I know somebody turned down the MJ fight, Akmadala fight, and that anytime I hear somebody about turning down fights against champions, that's always makes me say,
Yeah, that's
how
a
many
good
times
point,
So it was definitely somebody turned it down. It might not have been Nery, so somebody's in the chat. You don't have to call me a stupid fuck. It's just I'm old and sometimes I don't remember it right. But there was somebody. I'm just remembering was it Nery or not.
Well, I tell you what, though, after the fight, he called out Fulton and Inoue. I think Inoue, no, hold on. What did he call? I think he called both of them mosquitoes. I don't know what that means, but this guy definitely, he's confident now after this win. And I don't think he beats Inoue, but why not, man? Why not make that fight? If Inoue beats Fulton or vice versa, I think Nery, since he's all action, must-see TV, maybe that would be a good fight to make. I don't know.
Well, who did you call out first? Because that's the one he wants to fight. I didn't watch that part. Who did he say first? Whose name?
Let me check. Anybody know, by the way? Maybe
no, but if you said Inoue...
He said he sees Fulton versus Inoue 50-50. So he's got to wait to see what happens with those two guys after they fight, who wins. But in the meantime, he's looking into that one guy, the Agmadaliev. So he's just,
You know he wants to fight anyway. That's the guy he wants to fight. No questions asked. Obviously, if you have to fight between the two, one guy's a real slick fighter and, moderate power. The other guy's got crazy power. And I personally believe it's going to carry because it's the way he's built, the way he throws his punch. Yeah, I think it's going to carry. Maybe not be as devastating. It might take him a couple of more shots. It won't be walk-offs because at 118, he was walking off on people. Like one shot before his body's even done turning from the punch, like trying to bring his body back on center, he just fucking walks to the corner. He just knows they're going to go down. So that's how hard that kid hits. So I believe it's hard, but it's the money. Anyways, that's the only guy down. That's the golden goose at 122 or whatever division he fights in because of his popularity and what he pulls in Japan. You put on the other end, Fulton didn't, his last numbers when he headlined on Showtime, even the Figueroa fight was horrible. They didn't do any numbers at all. He doesn't have a big fan base because of the smaller guys. And like we've had guys call the show all the time yelling at us about, but they say they never really watched the lower weights. So I don't know if that may be a thing. But and it's no knock on Fulton as a fighter, his talent or what he would do. I'm talking pragmatically as a fighter, you're looking for your most bank. And without a doubt, even though you might have a better chance to get knocked out by him, but there's millions more dollars on the line. That was my point.
No, absolutely, man. You know where it's at. And, this fight, it just goes to show you how when you put on the good fights that people want to see, people were complaining about the zone and how they hiked up the price. And look, certainly I'm not a happy camper with the increased prices, but they're putting on good fights. Look at two great fights throughout the day, and you didn't have to pay extra for it. And that's the other thing is when people look at a PBC card and like a pay-per-view card and they go, well, look at all the names, look at all the fights they've got. Yeah, because first of all, number one, they have to put a lot of guys in there because otherwise they're not going to fight for the rest of the year. This is it. Jesus Ramos and Crowley, it's probably got the one time they're going to be fighting this year. So they have to stack those cards. And even then, Ramos versus Crowley and the other Ramos versus, who's he fighting? Joey Spencer. Wow, that's pay-per-view, man. That's you want to pay. Oh, by the way, excuse me. Hold on. I'm getting a text here from Mauricio Lara. Oh, he texted me a picture. Look at that. But going back, by the way, we're going to be opening up the phone lines very, very soon in about a couple of minutes. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, while I open up the phone lines, I wanted to talk about something last episode and we didn't get to it. Ran out of time. But it was about Josh Taylor versus Catterall and how that fight, the much maligned and postponed fight rematch that has not happened. Well, it's not going to happen because apparently the WBO has decided that they want to mandate Teofimo Lopez to fight Josh Taylor. Now, here's a couple of things that we got to take into account. And this is according to a Boxing Scene article that Catterall was maligned by the WBO, which meant that he couldn't be the next contender for the title. He got dropped from the rankings for some reason, or in the rankings. He was pretty angry about it. And I think that's when Josh Taylor made that comment about call the police. Whatever. Teofimo Lopez now gets bumped up and the WBO mandates that fight. But according to this boxing article, Bob Arum and Top Rank, whatever, and Josh Taylor were already in talks for that Teofimo Lopez bout. So despite what the WBO was saying, they were already willing to make that fight, which is weird because, I mean, first Josh Taylor says immediately after the Catterall fight, I don't want a rematch. I don't need it. Then he says, well, maybe. Then he says, okay, but not at 140. Then he says, yes, at 140. Then he gets injured, but we see him standing up and confronting Catterall at the Liam Smith versus Eubank fight. Now all of a sudden is, hey, forget that fight. It's got to be him versus Lopez. And Bob Arum said, well, it's because once Catterall got dropped from the WBO rankings and the WBO title wouldn't be at stake anymore, the fight lost its luster. So once again, another example of how these belts get used for prestige and put it on the marquee, but at the end of the day, it prevents us from getting a fight that should have happened. Now, am I happy that Lopez-Taylor's happening? Well, look, if it happens, it's a good fight, but you got to feel bad for Catterall, who was stalled and for more than a year and had to sit around, wait, okay, am I going to fight? Am I not going to fight? Well, now it turns out he's also not going to fight Taylor. What do you guys make of this?
It's name recognition. That's all. The sanction bodies want the fucking money. That's all. Obviously, Lopez Taylor fight's going to bring in a lot more money than the rematch. So just whores, dude. You know, it's just more proof that this fucking sport is going to the hopper. Yeah, that kid, he's been dicked around. He sat there, whether you like him or not, whatever your opinion of him, doesn't matter, man. The dude, like you said, put his career on hold, waiting for this fucking rematch, and now they're gonna pull it out from under him because fucking Taylor isn't gonna make I can make more money with this guy. It's like somebody, you know, going, you buy a car and the guy keeps you at his house for 2 days staring at the fucking thing, and the other dude shows up. He's offering me $100 more, dude. Nice meeting you, though. Like, fuck it, you know what I mean? It's just so ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, I'd sue. Maybe I would probably file a suit. Depends on how bad, or make them pay me like a motherfucker. But then it hurts his career because, like, this kid Cody Crowley, for instance, real quick, since signing with the PBC, he's fought once in 2020, once in 2021, once in 2022. Whoa. To your point, Mr. BDA.
But hey, the PBC is making moves.
I think yeah, go ahead, BD.
No, excuse me. I was just saying about the PBC, sarcastically. Oh, the PBC, they're making moves. They're the best. They're not the worst. Like, all right, keep dreaming about that. Keep burying your head in the sand there. I think that's some people, that's what they like to do best. But yeah, go ahead, Gonzalo.
Yeah, it's kind of suspect, in my opinion, what Josh Taylor has been doing. I know he's tested and he became undisputed. He beat another guy who's really good in a very, very close fight, Regis Prograis, and then he had beat all these other guys that were pretty good, with different type of punches, whether it's a right, left hook, straight punch, uppercut, you name it, body shots. It's like, man, this guy's he's pretty well rounded. But this guy apparently, in my opinion, he's got this guy's number. And it's kind of suspect, dude, because the guy, the way he comports himself prior to the fights, where he wants to intimidate other fighters, where he couldn't actually get the knockout against Jose Carlos Ramirez when he had him hurt. Now think of it. Well, he was hurt against Baranchik too. It wasn't the greatest performance against Victor Postol. So I mean, the dude's got holes in his game, but it's kind of like 50-50 to me. Like, yeah, he's tested, but at the same time, yeah, he's been hurt. He's been dropped. This guy had his number, so what's the deal? Is he really the fucking goods, or what's up with him?
And even in the Ramirez fight, it wasn't his fault, but he took full advantage of it. But the ref fucked Ramirez. Ramirez was repeating what the ref kept doing all night, slapping him, and then separate. So he was expecting to get separated because that was what the ref was doing. That's the reason why he pulled his hand back. Like, what happened? What who did that? It's so ridiculous. But yeah, and then this is a small thing, but it pissed me off. Twice I heard him say it. Once I realized, I'm like, wow, the kid's unifying the whole division. So I wanted to check up. So I go back and just wanted to see if he went to interviews, see how the kid carries himself. Is he cocky? Is he, what is he like? So, but in the few interviews I watched, he repeated he's fine with fighting once a year. And to me, that pissed me off. I'm like, fuck you, dude. Like, man, build a base, man. Fight as much as you can. Get the fight. You know what I mean? Like, you got a lot of people pulling for you right now. A lot of people behind you. And now I'm fine with it. It was just, and it really bothered me. And now this, you owe fucking boxing that rematch to, with that kid, because a lot of people thought you lost, dude. So what the fuck, man? So like my colleague Gonzalo's point, I think in his head, maybe that kid did something. Maybe he just felt so uncomfortable against him. He wants nothing to do with him again. But oh well, dude. Fuck that. Step the fuck up. Or I hope Lopez takes your fucking head off.
Oh, but you know what though? It's interesting to piggyback off what Gonzalo also said about Josh Taylor not having a lot of holes in his game. He's a world-class fighter in the sense that he's beaten everybody, or he beat everybody 140, so he deserves to be in the pound-for-pound list and obviously the best 140-pounder. But like Gonzalo said, there were always holes in his game that prevented him from having... In other words, he's a world-class fighter without world-class skills. It's possible. I mean, there's guys out there... Manny Pacquiao for a long time was getting by with just a quick 1-2. But his skills weren't all that there. Once he took it to the next level, that's when he became the pound-for-pound number one guy. And it's similar with Taylor. He's beating guys and everything, although obviously not as dominant as Pacquiao. I wasn't comparing him in that regard. But he's beating the guys, but man, there's a lot of times there where you could say, you looked at him and said, yeah, he could be taken out himself. And that's the other thing is, Catterall, he's a different fighter from Prograis. Yes, Prograis now, everybody's high on him, finally. But Catterall has a better and more precise left hand. He's accurate with that left hand. Now that's why I don't think he's as good as Prograis, and it comes into this aspect is that he doesn't put combos together. It's really just that left hand and maybe a good southpaw jab, but other than that, it's really that left and then clinch, and you know what I mean. So, but it was bothering Taylor. Taylor couldn't do anything to stop it, and so it was weird, man. And you know what? I also think, if I'm forced to speculate here, this is Top Rank saying, look, this Catterall fight, it's a bad move. Even if Taylor beats him, he's probably going to look bad, or he might look bad. So why not put him in there against Lopez? Look, we got that WBO backing us in this. Lopez is going to be, like Jimmy said, more boisterous. Both guys are talkative, so it's going to make for a better build-up. It's going to make for a better show. Teofimo Lopez is flashier too inside the ring than Catterall, and more people know him here in America. So why the fuck? Why not make that one and tell Catterall to fuck off? But it's sad for Catterall. But hey, listen, that's the boxing business, man.
And fighting once a year is what makes it sad, bro. Because if he was fighting more often, he could just bang it out. The shit have been banged out already. You know what I mean? Because right. Top Rank, what it is, now you see guys like Top Rank being so selective, because the way these kids move, like they fight so infrequently, these fights have to pay off more to get their money back. I see them just being more strategic with it, and that shouldn't be the case with this kid. Run it back. Gonzalo, sorry, you're about to say something.
No, I'm not. I'm muted. I'm listening.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was Bucho. I'm sorry, but I heard somebody going to talk. I'm just handing it over. I thought it was you. But was it Bucho?
Listen, I'll say this. Phone lines are open in case anybody wants to call in. The phone number is right there in the middle left-hand portion of your screen. In fact, we got somebody calling right now. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, I said. Hold on. Hey, hold on, I said. Jeez Louise. All right, here we go.
Mr. BD, I just got to say, I just realized something. Yes. I kind of went against the narrative, right? I bet you nobody's going to call and say, wait a minute, Jimmy, did you just say you hope the white fighter gets his head taken off by the Hispanic? I know that goes against anybody who says I'm a racist, which is just hilarious. But anyways, I just realized that after I said that, I said, I wonder how many times you see other ethnicities do that. Not as much as they should.
You broke code. It's regulation time now. The Aryan Vanguard's going to come after you. All right, let's go to...
Yeah.
Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. All right, let's go to 484 here. 484, you're on the air. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. You can hear me, right?
Absolutely, man.
Hello? Yeah, I just want to talk about that fight last night between Lee Wood and Lara. That was a fucking disgrace. Lee Wood was absolutely dominating that fight. The only round he lost was round 2. In round 7, he was completely controlling and dominating Lara, and then he got clipped with something, and then, at the very end of the round, at the very end of the round, and Ben Davidson threw in the fucking towel. Ben Davidson is Ben Davidson. I don't blame Lara. I don't blame Mexicans. I don't blame Lee Wood. I blame Ben Davidson for that. That was a fucking disgrace. That was absolutely disgusting. I was telling people, I think in your Discord server or another one, I'm not sure which one it was, but I haven't been that disgusted with boxing in a long time. That was absolutely a fucking disgrace. That was really, I was angry for like 4 hours after watching that.
Jeez, Luis, okay, man, come on, man.
That was fucking awful. He got knocked down so much worse by Michael Conlon in the first round. Michael Conlon hit him with a straight left hand and fucking put him down and crumpled his leg behind his body. It was an ugly knockdown. Terrible, ugly knockdown. He got saved by the belt. And the same exact fucking thing should have happened there with Lara. And Lee Wood is the kind of guy that will go into the trenches. He'll absolutely go into the trenches. And the fact that Ben Davidson threw in the towel like that was just, that made me so fucking angry. He's not, I really do think Lara, I don't think Lara will beat Michael Conlon. I honestly don't think he'll beat Michael Conlon, dude. And there was a fight last night. I want to give a shout out to Louis Nery. That fight with Louis Nery and the Armenian fellow was a barn burner. Great fight from Golden Boy. Absolutely. And that was just I'm pretty devastated about that Lee Wood fight. I'll be honest with you, because
Olaf,
that didn't need to be stopped at that point. And there's, I don't know. What are you
listen,
going to say,
Olaf,
BDA?
let me tell you. I want to say something about that. Well, listen, Ben Davidson. That's why you need a competent trainer. And I've said it before. Boxing now, it's the only sport where a trainer can be a guy with no experience or very little experience. Just put a towel over your shoulder, put a funny hat on, like from the Little Rascals from the 1920s, and boom, show up at the gym. Hey, I'm a trainer. Yeah, I'm a trainer. All you need to do is pay for that license, whatever. You don't really need to take a test. There's no fucking degree for it, and that's what it is with it. But that's the problem with boxing, and maybe Davidson fucked up a little bit. But I may also say a little personal advice. It's a sport, man. You're supposed to be watching this to enjoy it. If you're getting angry, staying angry for 4 hours afterwards, I would suggest either you recalibrate your expectations or try to find a hobby that you can do afterwards, after boxing, after you watch boxing, so that you don't get caught up in that. Because it's not worth it, man. It's just a sport.
But BDA, that shit was grimy. That shit was dirty, and for and I don't mean this shit on Mexicans. Like I said, man, my girl is Mexican, and I have absolutely no problem with Mexican people. I'm not anti-Mexican. I don't give a fuck about Mexicans, dude. But what was it, 2-3 weeks ago on Top Rank with Navarrete and fucking Liam, some motherfucker from Australia we've never heard of. Navarrete got knocked the fuck out in the 4th round. He was gone. It was over. They gave him a 27 count. That dude, that Liam Williams, whatever his name is, I've never heard of the motherfucker, but he was training with the people from Gary Russell's gym in DC. But he fucking he sparked. He was basically sparked out. He sparked him out. He sparked out.
Well, you're exaggerating a little bit, though. You're exaggerating.
Fucking 27.
But hold on, but Olaf, you're exaggerating a little bit, because if you want to say Navarrete was knocked the fuck out, you could say the same thing about Lee Wood. He was wobbly. He was going up he fell against the ropes. He was conscious.
No, but they didn't give Lee Wood the difference. They didn't give Lee Wood chance. They gave Navarrete a 27-second fucking count.
But it's different, though. It's Olaf. I understand what you're saying, but it's a different circumstance, because on the one hand it was the referee, and on the other hand it was Ben Davidson, the trainer. So if it would have been,
and that's what I'm saying. But when it comes to Lara, I don't take anything away from Lara as a fighter. I don't take anything away from Mexican people for that victory. That's a great victory. Lee Wood's a good fighter. You got that interim belt. You know, you keep smacking these fucking white guys from England. Cool, whatever. But at the same time, man, like the Ben Davidson thing, man, that really, like, that's something that, like, people really need to look into. And I'll tell you what, before I go, he almost did that to Tyson Fury in the first fucking Deontay Wilder fight. If what's his name? If Freddie Roach wasn't there in the 12th round. Because Freddie Roach trained Tyson Fury for that first Wilder fight. It wasn't, I mean, what's his name?
It wasn't Davidson.
Davidson was just getting them in shape and shit. Freddie Roach was the boxing trainer. Okay, Freddie Roach was training him. Like for that, and what's his name? And when he got knocked down violently in the 12th round, Ben Davidson was looking to jump into the fucking ring, and Freddie Roach grabbed him like by the fucking neck and said, "No, don't do it, don't do it, no," like that. And then he got.
Well, there you go. There you go. That's Davidson. He's inexperienced, and he's a hot house flower. That's what he is. So maybe people should start
questioning what he's doing.
Yeah, they should start questioning whether they want to work with that guy. But anyway, listen, Olaf, great call, but we do have to move on, man. But thank you for your call. Always appreciate the energy, and we'll catch you on the next one, all right, man?
It was great talking to you guys. Thank you.
Same here. Take it easy, man. All right,
let's go. That's why I had the position I had, because of this stuff like that. Yeah, I knew that was going to be like, there's going to be a lot of people pissed off. People, especially like, because we didn't really have a dog in the fight. We just wanted a good fight. But I always kind of put myself in both, outlooks, and I'm saying, Wood fans are not going to like that, because he was winning the fight, absolutely. And when there's 10 seconds left, by the time you get in, pull at least try to get one more clinch before Lara, who's pretty accurate. They try to say he was a wild fighter. I think he throws his punches a little like hooky, like a little out there. But I thought he was actually pretty accurate when he did throw. So I don't get the whole wildness. Maybe I think he throws some weird angles sometimes. But anyways, so I can see that. So like, that's the reason, because when you leave doubt in the paying public's mind, you want the paying public to walk away saying, oh, fuck, like if he crumbled him when they walked over, caught him with another shot, he just went face first down, bang, the ref would have stopped it right there anyways. He would have waved it off, would have been over. But instead, the fucking towel came in. You heard the crowd, a big giant, like a moan, like, are you serious? Like, for that reason, you can't throw the towel there. You just can't.
That's why I feel bad
think it was
for
a Bush League call.
Yeah, I feel bad for the British fans a little bit, because, I mean, how many hours are you going to sit through Sweet Caroline to get to the main event, and then they stop it like that? But, I mean, hey, listen, it's boxing. Ben Davison, he did what he thought he had to. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 214. 214, you're on the air. 214, what's on your mind?
Hello? Yeah, I thought the fight was pretty solid. Yeah, it's me. I thought the fight was pretty solid. I thought Lee Wood made a very, very big mistake. He tried to hook with the hooker, which was not good. And I think at first I was mad about the stoppage because the ref let him go. I know some people that thought that believe they should have called the fight as soon as he got laying on the floor. I believe that Michael Conlan is different from being dropped by Michael Conlan is different than being dropped by Mauricio Lara. I think that Davidson thought if he continues, he's going to get knocked out even more viciously. Conlan's not really a puncher. I feel weird. Lee Wood is like weird, man. He's an okay boxer, but he's not good enough to be seen as an elite boxer. He's kind of tough, but he's not the toughest, and he doesn't have the greatest chin either. So it's weird, He's definitely a good fighter, but he's not a top 5 featherweight. And as for that Teofimo versus the Josh thing, I'm a little mad for Jack, but it seems that Top Rank doesn't want them to go that direction. I think Josh would fight Jack again, but it's like a bad. I don't think Top Rank is comfortable with him doing that again. So there's like, let's do our thing. We got this great fight over here, so let's do that. Honestly, I really don't care who wins, Timo at all. I just like Josh a little less than Tiafimo. And as for the Nery thing, I thought that was a great fight too. But as that has no head movement, that's the reason why he got knocked out. The way he just kept coming forward. He should have added some more nuance to his game, some movement. Some feints. He's just coming in and putting two, 3 punches together, which is why he marked up Nery's face. But man, the guy had no head movement. He's got heart and he's got engine, just no head movement, and that really messed him up. He probably took some years off his career because of that.
Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. Now, I just gotta tell the people at the audience out there. I opened up StreamYard, and lo and behold, it started fucking with the connection here. So I had to shut it off. Apparently we can't do phone lines and StreamYard at the same time. There's some sort of a dissonance between those two things. But Caller, you're right, man. With Taylor, I like how you said with Taylor and Teofimo Lopez, you don't really care who wins because they're both grating, noxious characters. And well, it should be an interesting fight, though. That's for sure. I would be looking forward to that one. So, anything else you want to say before we move on?
I don't know what Lee Wood's gonna do next, man. He could either fight Josh Warrington. He could fight Josh Warrington. It might be not as good because they're both coming off losses, but English people, they're very loyal people. So why not? I don't think him fighting Lara again. I think Lara might get even better. And Lee Wood, he's already 34. He's not as young as Lara. Lara may look old, but he might not be as technically good. That's why Lee Wood was getting as far. Lee Wood has better technical skills, but he's not like the best technical guy there.
You're right.
So
man.
it's a tough.
You're right. We'll see what happens.
He's like some type of.
We'll see what happens though, because maybe Lara. By the way, Lara's 23. No, excuse me, 24. So there's room for improvement there if he. 24. So there's room for improvement there if he feels like it. All right, listen, 470. We got to move on, man. But thank you for your call and 214. Thank you for your call and catch you on the next one, all right, man? Take it easy out there.
All right, I'll be listening.
Fantastic. Thank you for your call. Let's go to 470 here. 470, you're on the air. 470, what's on your mind? 470, you're on the air.
Oh, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can
hear me. Okay, it's Never Sobers from the Discord.
Oh.
I wanted to speak on the stoppages and how people are reacting to it. I think people are letting some stoppages kind of get in the way of two really good fights. People are more talking about the stoppages and they're talking about the action and the fight in a way. And I think, and y'all might say I'm a little soft for this, but I don't think there's never any enough compassion for the loser in the fight. These guys, I understand you guys want to see a fight, but you don't have to see it to the point where these guys are splayed out with blood all over them, looking like a butcher's block. If the referee, if Ben Davidson allowed their fighters and the fighter to get Azat and Lee Wood, if they allowed those guys to literally beat the fight out of them, that might be their last fights. They might not come back. They didn't give up on themselves, and they can tell themselves they didn't give up on themselves. Other people had to stop the fight, so they'll come back and they'll fight hard. And I just no one seems to care about these dudes that they have to go home, they have their families, and you don't want these fools to be off fucking looking like monstrosities. I mean, not so much monstrosities, dude, but you don't want these guys all fucked up in their fucking heads and shit. Y'all saying a knockout won't do nothing. When your head snaps off the ground, like Lee Woods did, if that happened 2 more times or 1 more time, it could have done some real damage. I just think that there should be a little more compassion for the losers. And maybe a lot of guys haven't lost fights to really have that compassion. But if you've been in a fight that you didn't win, the loser has feelings too. They matter too, bro.
Well, Jimmy,
my thing is this though, caller. Right? You gotta look at it this way too. When's the next time he's going to be back there? And you also the one who kind of talked him into the fight. How it goes? When they were talking about it last night, that Ben Davis is the one who picked that route. I never understood. I thought it was a crazy. I mean, he just wins the belt, and that's the guy you're going with. Like, there's plenty other apples on the tree he could have went with, but obviously Davis saw something in him that they could capitalize on. So knowing that, with 10 seconds left, he's 34. When are you even going to get back there again? He just won the title. This kid hasn't made life-changing money, not even close to it. Probably shocking how little he's actually made. So now you've not just taken, you might, because the boxers, they used to getting punched in the head. That's no big deal. They're going to get right back up and shit. I've been punched. I've been fucking, trust me, I know, and I've done it for free. So the thing is, like, these dudes, I mean, that's everything right there for him. So now that's put him not just in, it's a financial strain too. I mean, he's going to take big pay cut now. He's not the champion. When is he going to get another chance to get to be a champion? He's 34, like I said. So you got to also think of that. You know, it's a business at the end of the day.
I think the only monstrosity was Lee Wood's haircut, man. Motherfucking sporting the Jerry curl. Looking like Pinky from Friday.
Yeah, he's got that Zoomer haircut. He's got the Zoomer haircut, man. Never Sober, are you still there?
Oh.
Never Sober.
Yo.
Yeah. So there's a rematch clause apparently.
I couldn't really hear. The connection came back really bad, like jumbled. Everyone that responded. So I was just trying to respond to what I think I heard. I think Jimmy said he got into fights for free for that. I mean, I have two. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's what he said, but I think he said that I've done that for free.
No.
I think a lot of people have, and I mean,
he said that he was.
That's not what my point was.
He said that he was. He said that it was crazy that Davison chose Lara right off the bat after Wood just won the title.
Damn, bro, I really can't hear you, BDA.
Right.
Let me just say one more thing, and I'll let y'all do your thing because I don't think I'll be able to hear you guys to respond well. I think he also brought up the time in the round. I think it could have been. I don't think Ben Davison. You know, when you're in a high emotional situation like that, I don't think he might not have, turned to the timer and looked at the timer to be concerned about that. He might have just been in the moment like, oh, my dude's about to get fucking laid out.
He's watching it religiously.
Let me stop this,
The trainer's watching that clock religiously. He knew exactly how much time was left. He also heard the guy hit the canvas. Yeah, of course. He religious. That's why he's on the ring. If you watch him, he's constantly trainers. That's what they do. They're one eye on the fighter. They look at the clock. Fight of the clock. Especially if they're seeing the fighter breathe heavy or moving a little slow. Every trainer is very conscious of the clock.
Okay.
Well, in any event, Never Sober, I don't know if you can hear me.
I'm really concerned about it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me, Never Sober, but this is something that's going to be debated for a long time, and it's not the last time it's going to be stoppage is going to be debated. It's one of the things boxing fans love to do is was the fight stopped too early, too late, and we'll see what happens, right, Never Sober? But thank you for your call, man, and we'll catch you on the next one.
All right, yeah, I'll listen back to what y'all said. All right, take it easy.
Take it easy, man. Yeah, because look, listen, stoppages, it goes both ways, man. If it gets stopped when the guy's still standing, most of the time people will say, I want to see the guy laid out. But then if the guy dies, which usually doesn't happen, granted, with one-punch knockouts, but usually when something does happen where a guy dies or whatever, referees need to step up their game, blah, blah, blah. So it's a violent sport. Let the fights go. If
he didn't catch... I'm sorry. I'm just trying to catch in the delays. I'm sorry, Mr. BA. Finish. I was just
going to say, if I had to choose between stopping them early or stopping them late, I would say late because, again, the fighters know what they're getting into. And if you ask most fighters, they'd say, yeah, let me continue. It's what they're choosing. It's their job to get hurt or to risk getting hurt. But go ahead, Jimmy, yeah.
No, to your point, exactly, bro. When was the last time you took a big shot? He hadn't caught a big shot, like one that kind of caught his attention, if I remember correctly, for a couple of rounds, which means if just one more punch was going to take that kid's life, he was a fucking walking time bomb. He was going to die anyways. That was an aneurysm ready to pop. Get shook and loose because he didn't take any damage. You go back in all the fights and everyone that I saw, and I've seen a few, unfortunately, but not many of you. Think about all the years I've been watching boxing, just a handful of dudes I've seen die or gone either dropped in the ring or later died in the locker room. And the worst one was probably with Manzini, right? But he was beating on that dude, beating on him and beating on him. So you knew the fucking eyes were almost swollen shut. The head was swollen, his ears were swollen. That's what kills you. It just keeps swelling your brain up to like hematoma status, and then it pops. And that wasn't the case with fucking Woods. Yeah, he was rocked in a second, but he wasn't taking big damage. So you got to factor that in with the time left in the ring. With it's the 7th round, at least see how he acts in a corner. If at the end of the minute you're talking to him, right, and his eyes are still on focusing, he's not, and he's too slow with his responses, then you say, "Nah, dude, I'm not letting you back out there, bro." That's when you take charge. But you don't just take everything away with 10 seconds left. But I'm not angry over it. I'm not going to lose sleep or anything. I'm just saying because this is what happens.
Well, listen, I'm going to reiterate something just to clarify. I'm not saying it was a bad stoppage because Davidson, it might have been, it might not have been. I don't know. I wasn't in Davidson's shoes. I didn't see what he saw from his angle. Maybe he felt Lee Wood was getting tired or something. I don't know. It was an acceptable stoppage in the sense that, look, I do agree with Never Sobers that the guy doesn't have to be fully unconscious to get stopped. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is there have been situations where you could tell the guy could keep going and maybe pull the fight off, and those are stopped too early. This one, I kind of agree. Listen, 10 seconds. What was the fight where Montiel versus Donaire? Montiel got dropped hard in that fight, and he got up. The referee let him continue. And 2-3 shots afterward, boom, he stopped the fight because it was clear that Montiel couldn't defend himself. Would I have liked to have seen that with Wood? Maybe, but I'm willing to bet the way it was going, I'm willing to bet in those 10 seconds, probably the referee would have waved it off anyway. But I also want to tell people something here. I'm going to try opening up StreamYard again. See if it works. But you got to get in here quick, fellas, because it starts fucking up here the connection a little bit. So here's the StreamYard link. If anybody wants to call outside from North America, call in through StreamYard. Give us your thoughts on that. And listen, at least nobody quit last night. Because that's the other thing that gets people pumped up or ired up. Or that gets their ire burning in hot coals. When fighters quit and you go, well, we start speculating. Could he have continued? How badly was he hurt? And even then, there's times where quitting is acceptable. I mean, Israel Vasquez versus Rafael Marquez in 2007. A lot of people gave Vasquez grief or guff for quitting. And then what happened? Turns out his nose was a bag of bones. And he came back in the rematch and he stopped Vasquez and then beat him in the rubber match. So sometimes when a guy quits, doesn't necessarily mean, it's not always a black and a white situation. It all depends. By the way, we've got Shadowban calling in. You're not outside North America. What are you calling through this line for?
It's my phone's broken right now, so if I were to call, it'll fucking hang up. I don't want you to think I'm hanging up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. What's up?
Okay, there's a fucking huge delay. I don't want to fucking take up too much people's time. I just want to say, the stoppage was good, and that one caller before he was saying Lara was getting dominated. No, the fuck he wasn't. He was clipping up Wood all the fight, bouncing his head back. He was every time he caught Wood was visible. He was getting beat up, and it wasn't lucky shot. No, they were standing toe to toe, and he timed him with a mean ass left hook, and that's it. Sayonara. But there's all these excuses. Lara did what he had to do in the UK, or they were gonna rob him. Let's be honest. Just like all right, let's put it this way. Chocolatito, the best ever. He loses to a Mexican. Gallo, excuses. Oh, they don't want to give Gallo credit. Lomachenko, even the Matrix, loses to Teofimo. They don't want to give Teo credit, right? Gallo, they don't want to give him credit. Let's talk about Navarrete and Liam Wilson, and an Australian versus a Mexican, and somehow the China haters in the crowd start chanting USA, USA, because they were chanting Mexico for Navarrete. So they get all mad and they start chanting USA for an Australian and a Mexican. Make it make sense, but it's not about race. Sure thing. He knocks down Navarrete on the ground, punches Navarrete on the floor, just like when Rayo fought Edwin de los Santos. Edwin de los Santos punched him on the floor, but you don't hear none of these people complaining. He punches him on the ground, which should have been an automatic disqualification. But they don't mention that when they're crying about the long stoppage. I've yet to hear these people mention that. Of course, excuses, right? Again, then you have this fight. more excuses. I was watching the Johnny Boy stream just to laugh at him. The whole fight, the whole chat, they were saying, Woods up, Woods up. As soon as he gets knocked the fuck out by Lara, it was fucking hilarious just to see all the hating, the excuses come. Same thing with Islam. Islam and Alexander Volkanovski in the UFC, that I don't give a fuck about that Illuminati ran organization hype train, China hater hype train. I really don't. I'm making a point. These dudes, Islam, the Muslim, Habib's cousin, Habib, the dude who stopped the Irish's hype train, Conor McGregor, and dominated the whole sport, is now dominated again. He beat Volk. What are they saying? Making up excuses all through the media, trying to call him a cheater. And then you have these China haters saying, not everything is about race and politics. Well, you are responsible for 9/11. It wasn't bin Laden. So forgive me, Forgive me if I make an assumption that it's because he's Muslim. All these excuses. So, the LDBC might make excuses, but these people are the same thing. That's all I want to say, though.
Well, listen, Shadowban, there's a huge delay between us and StreamYard, so thank you for your call, and we'll catch you in the next one, right, man?
Facts. Peace.
Take it easy, man.
Mr. BDA, couldn't you, if somebody was in the chat, couldn't they post, hey, I want to call in from overseas, can you open the stream? I'm just suggesting, in case, instead of keeping it just open, if nobody's calling, is that too much of a hassle? Because then you'd have to read. Never mind. Because I have a hard time hearing once that stream goes up. It's just weird.
I know, man, but that's why I'm just listening. If you're gonna call, you got to
do what you got to do, brother. I'll have to try to listen harder. That's all.
What I'm saying is, if to the people out there, if you're gonna call on StreamYard, we're not gonna be able to go back and forth. So just give us your opinion, concise, precise, and short, or as short as compact as possible, and then we'll be able. You'll give us your opinion. We'll be able to move on, but we can't go back and forth because of the delay issues. All right, let's. We got a caller, by the way, on the phone line. So let's go to 972. 972, you're on the air. 972, what's on your mind?
What's going on, BDA? You guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, man.
I'll try and make up for the delay, man, but I won't be too long.
All right, go ahead.
Man, so yesterday, that Lee Wood versus Bronco Lara, man, dude, fucking Lara, man. I had picked Wood only because I felt Lara has been in battles. Of course, he's a notorious puncher, but I was hopeful that, maybe the parlay that I picked would come to fruition because every other team that I had selected had basically won. Lee Wood was the last piece of my puzzle. And sure enough, I came one fight away from turning $3 into $484, and wouldn't you know it, he went out there and tried to hook with a hooker, and being the notorious puncher that Lara is, that's all he needed, man. And as soon as I saw Wood hit the floor, I knew it was over. I didn't know the towel was going to come in and be thrown, but I knew that if they would have let him back out there and let Lara get a hold of him, it probably would have been much worse for Wood, and he probably would have taken a lot of unnecessary damage. So it was a good stoppage in my opinion. Even though it didn't cost me a lot of money, because, I only put up about $3. Every other team won, but that's besides the point. You got to give it up to Lara, man. That dude right there, man, he would put your lights out at any point in the fight.
Yeah, man, that guy, he's a bona fide punch. Who do you want to see him fight next, though?
I would prefer if they did not do a Warrington trilogy, but I feel like somehow it's going to be in the works because, they're going to try to get that belt back somehow, some way. But really, anybody that comes across him, man, they would be wise not to stand in front of him because it's going to be the same story. You're going to stand in front of him, you're going to have some success, and when you get clipped, you're either going to recover or you're not. And that 1 second that you got spaghetti legs, that's all he needs, man. You're going to take your head clean off. That dude is a notorious puncher.
Yeah, man, it's disgusting how hard he hits. Well, listen, man, thank you for you. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
Before I go, what do you guys think of? What are your thoughts on Harrison Zhu?
What do you guys think about Tony Harrison versus Tim Zhu?
That's a good fight.
Yeah, I think we got that coming up. What do you guys think?
Harrison got a lot of experience. It's gonna show you. It's gonna show everybody to see if Tim Tszú's the goods or not.
Exactly. It'll answer questions about Tszú. Because at this stage of the career, Tszú should beat him. The younger men are up, but Harrison's an older guy, crafty, and he's actually a pretty talented boxer. He's well schooled. It's his lack of power has always been his downfall. And I'd like to add MJ Akhmadov, or whatever way I'm butchering his name, but MJ he's with the Zone too. So why don't that be a fight I would go if I was Lara? Try to make.
Well, I mean, he would have to move. He would have to move up though, MJ, for that one. But I mean, hey, listen, stranger things have happened, so why not?
Wasn't that at 122?
Lara was at.
Shit. Okay, Nery was 122. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just fucking confusing the classes last night. Well, yeah. All right. Never mind. Yeah. Scrap that.
I mean, I get confused too because I thought at some point Nery.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
I was about to say that dude needs to come up on 32 when he steps on the scale, he is ripped.
Yeah, man, that's
I keep hearing that Lara's a hooker. You know what? He's also got a straight right hand. He throws uppercuts too, but he couples a straight right with that hook that he throws, and it's a lead hook. So it's a lead hook and a straight right hand after that. And if you wanted to hook with the power hand, he can hook with that one too. So, I mean, the guy, he gets tagged sometimes because I guess he's trying to set his feet and to line up the other guy for his offense. So maybe in the defense, he lacks a little bit, but the freaking offense is his world-class, man, with those punches he throws. He's got a lot of technique, in my opinion.
Yeah,
exactly.
Man. Well,
you got to give a little, you got to take a little. To put shit on, snap on your punches, you got to put yourself in position to get hit. That's why guys like him get hit. It's just he has confidence in his jaw to take a shot. And yeah, I'm really confused with the Wild thing too. You hear a lot of that say he's a wild fighter, and I just don't see that. Actually, I thought he was pretty accurate. Anyways.
Well, listen, caller, man. Thank you for your call, man, and we'll catch you in the next one, all right, man?
Yeah, I won't hold you guys up, man. It was very ironic to me that most of the time I bet on Mauricio Lara, and he's made me money in the past. The one time that I think he won't hold up, he goes out there and takes the guy's head off, man. So, you know what? I probably won't be picking against Lara anytime soon.
All right, well, man. Listen, man. Keep your chin up, man. You'll get it the next time, man. Take it easy out there.
Take it easy, guys.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not that crazy, though, by the way, that he picked Wood. Because I remember I was saying in the build-up to this fight, I said, Lara's not a defensive wizard. Wood can crack, and he's probably going to try to box a little bit there. And he was doing well. It's just, man, that fucking Lara, he's a predator. He was just looking for that opening. Yeah, and like Never Sober said, he was hitting him with jabs, though. It's not like he was just not. It's not like he was just standing there not doing it. He was boxing too.
And to the caller, PD, the Bronco, the Bronco bulls or the horses, they're fucking unpredictable. They're not fucking. You think you're gonna ride the motherfuckers last 8 seconds? Hey, you'd be surprised. They'll chuck you off. Freaking the thing with Lara, when they say, okay, he was losing rounds, okay, yeah, maybe. But once again, it's like a lot of fighters could have, offensively, they can have timing and the distance. They could have the distance and the timing down. But how many fighters do we see landing the right shots at the appropriate distance with the correct timing in the first, second, third round, but they don't get nothing done? Shakur Stevenson. Even a guy that punches, he's not going to knock out everybody when they're fresh. So let the motherfucker wear down a little bit to where he starts getting a little sluggish, starts telegraphing the shots, and boom. Let him win a round, win 2 rounds. Hey, now he's fucking the ebbs and flows of the fight. He's a little tired. You're a little bit more regenerated and resilient, and bam. That's what Lara does. So it's not a 4th round fight. It's not a 6th round. It's not an 8. It's a fucking 12 round fight. That's the thing. The amateurs.
And Gonzalo, you fought too, man. You know when you've hurt a dude. You know by just the way he moves after you hit him, the look in his eyes, and how he's throwing punches at you. I totally believe in my heart that he didn't give a shit even if he was going to lose some rounds. I think he totally believed in the way he hurt him in the second round. I think he hurt Wood. He was definitely shook, and I think Lara in himself was like, "Man, I didn't even put my I didn't even really put it on you there, dude. Never rocked you that bad. You're mine." And from there on in, every time he did catch him clean, he reacted negatively to it, and then reach out and try to grab. So he clearly saw he was the predator in there. It was obvious, and the other one was the fucking one picking off at the edges. And I think he knew he was just going to take him out. And I think that's why he didn't seem like he was pressing it. I think people are mistaking that as like a lack of talent, that he wasn't going out there and trying to take every round. I think he knew he was going to take the fight. Anyways, that's my opinion.
Yeah, also because like if he starts going tit for tat and starts wasting his power bar for the sake of me making an example, if he starts wasting his power bar at the same level, at the same degree that his opponent, where is he going to generate the power? Where's that power bar going to load up to have the power to throw that shot? No, he's got to let it fucking build up. So you got to let the power build up as your opponent is wearing down, in my opinion.
Excellent point, Gonzalo.
What I liked about Lara, too, is the way he dropped him. He didn't even celebrate when he dropped him. And he was just like, he just walked back to his corner like, yeah, that's what I was expecting. You know, he's like, I gotta wonder how... I gotta wonder how many
to spit on Warrington.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I wonder how many people he's icing in sparring though, or him wobbling, where they have to stop the sparring and say, "Okay, bring in another sparring partner." Because man, he's got dynamite in his shots.
He's giving me Edwin Valero vibes, BDA, and to mention something in regards to him being crazy and everything we were speaking about earlier, and him spitting on, which I'm not defending, it's him spitting on Warrington. He wants to rematch this guy and fucking end his career. So he's giving me these Edwin Valero vibes like he's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's cool for boxing, no?
I mean, in a way, it is. If it's about violence, you want the most violent guy in there. But listen, moving on, I gotta go to the piss room real quick. I'll leave you with this.
Is that the dude who killed his wife or girlfriend? Is that the guy you're talking about?
Yes.
Is that the same one?
Actually, there's a conspiracy theory that says that he was actually framed by the police.
Did you watch the video, BD? That shit was crazy.
I forget exactly what the theory was, though.
Well, he had a suitcase. He had a suitcase with money. He bought a car cash, and in the dealership, they watched him pull like $30,000 in the back of the car. And apparently, the dudes from the car dealership, they followed him. It's in Spanish, man. I'll send it to you later. If you guys haven't seen it, it makes a lot of sense.
All right, fantastic. I'll give it a watch, a gander, a whirl. Now I gotta go to the piss room, so I'll leave you with this, guys. I want you to talk about this. Benavidez last week said that, or actually Benavidez Senior, Jose Benavidez said that they're under contract for 3 big fights with the PBC. Now, where they're gonna televise those fights remains to be seen. But he said, going back to Caleb Plant, I think he felt the pressure. Blah blah blah. We have a contract for 3 fights now. So we have Zurdo, Ramirez. Then he said we have a contract with David Morrell, Boo Boo, that's Boo Boo Android, and Jermall Charlo. Those are dangerous fights, really good fights. We're going to stick at 168 right now and see what happens. So are they going to push for a Canelo fight? Or because everybody's saying that the onus is on Canelo to make the fight, but nobody really talks about how Benavidez' side it might not be actually be sending out the contracts or trying to get negotiations going. So guys, talk about that, if you will, for a minute.
Okay, well, I can just say one thing right off the rip, and it's definitely up to Canelo if he wants to make that fight, because as of now, you just go back, take everybody's emotions out of it, look at the metrics. David Benavidez, I think, did 278,000 peak at one of his last fights. I mean, he doesn't pull a big TV numbers yet either because of his infrequency of fighting. It's hard to build up a bigger base, but yeah, the whole promotion, if he wanted 10 million, 7, 8, $10 million, that's all off Canelo's name. It's like, all right, Canelo, you're going to fight this date. How much do you want to pay this dude? Because, I mean, is he even getting $1 million from the PBC? So, I don't know, man. He's going to have to do more than just fight he's going to have to take out Plant good. Like, really beat him worse than Canelo to get people championing for that. What do you think, Gonzalo?
I mean, that's a good win. Plant's a solid opponent. Just because he knocked out Darrell, I guess. He did okay with Canelo, too. He ended up getting knocked out, but I mean, he landed a couple shots I think he actually hurt Canelo around the 8th round with the body shot. And something about him that doesn't seem to want to go away. Might be that he's also got a relationship with the lady that works for the PBC, that he's still in the mix. Also, he made good money, so apparently, obviously, he likes the sport because he still wants to continue fighting. He shows the hunger, but then having that money probably allows him to have certain comforts that he can dedicate his life to training. He looks in excellent shape. So I'd say Caleb Plant does. But in regards to Benavidez, he got to show up, man. He got to show he's a big dude. So, yeah, obviously he carries a lot of advantages physical. And he's not limited to, I guess he throws a lot of punches. He didn't develop in the amateurs, and he's not limited to fight to not, a lot of times when you develop in the amateurs, you don't step into your power. Yeah, you're known for throwing more punches, but Benavidez is kind of he's different in a way. And he's a young dude. He's a big dude. It's a good fight stylistically. That's the thing. I think the Caleb Plant shows up and catches him in between his combinations. I mean, yeah, people think that Benavidez is going to walk through this guy just like that. I used to watch Uzcategui spar in person in Tijuana in El Chetos Boxing Club. And, this Uzcategui 6'1", he's real good. I know his last fights are, he didn't look the greatest. Man, but that's one tough dude, man. And Caleb Plant knocked him out. I mean, he dropped him twice and beat him in a decision. So I know Caleb Plant, he's got some power. And that's going to be a good fight, man. And I can't really say 100% that he's actually going to beat him, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think if it goes to the distance, he has a good chance of losing because the Plant is probably a little more technical, because Benavidez is always going out and just destroy the guys he fights. And what to your point about not coming out of the images, it's so right. I'm glad you said that. It's an excellent point. And I'll explain it to anybody who's listening real quick. In the images, you're trained different. The rounds, your scoring is different, because if you punch somebody in the images and you knock them to the ground, they get up and punch you with the white part of their glove. It's 1-1. They don't score 10-8 rounds. Knockouts don't on anything other than a point. So for that reason, you learn a certain style. It's more, you're consistent, standard defense, because you want to block those shots, because that's more important, not to get hit. So it's totally different, and you learn a different kind of way. So there's always that transition from your amateur style to your professional style. Am I making sense, Gonzalo?
Yeah, there's no ambiguity between the transition. So as far as David Benavidez, you could say, oh, well, he lets his whole hands go like a guy that wants to score points, but then he's kind of flat-footed. He's sitting on his punches, so he's kind of like a pressure fighter, I would suppose. But it's just he didn't have an amateur career, so he's young and he's just fighting like that. He's different. Yep. Whether it's going to get exposed later on because he's got some flaws within that game that he's developed, I don't know. But he's a big guy too, so that certainly helps as well.
That's what saves him. Like I think Bivol beats him at 175. Oh, I didn't know you were back, BDA. Sorry, go.
I just wanted to say about the whole thing about that I brought up earlier about Benavidez. The seniors saying, well, we've got 3 fights, Boo Boo, we got Charlo. They didn't mention Canelo. So it doesn't seem like they're trying to go get the fight. And I think it's because of infrastructure issues. If they try to get Canelo, it would have to be Benavidez fighting outside at PBC. Because think about it, since Canelo fought on the PBC, it's been downhill for the PBC. They gave away money on him and they didn't get anything in return, it seems. They ran out of dates. So that's why I think if they're going to make fights, they're going to probably try to get Benavidez in there with another PBC guy. Because, think about it. Benavidez right now fighting Plant. Both guys are PBC. They're both with Al Heyman. Al Heyman gets his percentage from both guys. Whereas if it's Canelo Benavidez, he only really gets it from Benavidez. And, of course, it would be a bigger payday for Benavidez and thus maybe a bigger percentage. But Al Heyman at this point, it seems, doesn't want to really take too many risks. Why with everything falling apart for him and everything? So it's just weird, man. But I just wanted to also touch on you guys. Well, go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say real quick because I think they said last time Canelo said if he was to fight a PBC fighter again, it'd be on DAZN because he kind of acquiesced to going to PBC the first time because he didn't like that they were trying to force him to a 3-fight deal. So that's even more of a reason they probably didn't mention him. And Showtime doesn't have that budget to even make a $50 million, $40 million guaranteed offer. But that's it, BDA.
Well, exactly. No, good point. And also the matchup itself. Like I said earlier on Friday's show, a lot of people now are giving Plant a chance. It's amazing what a knockout will do for people's point of view. I'm not sure, man. I mean, it's Caleb Plant just breaks apart too easily. But it could also be the coin could also be the other side, which is that Benavidez hasn't been fighting stellar opposition lately. You're only as good as the opposition you fight, and he hasn't even been fighting often on top of that. So I know he's a beast. I know the ring the sparring stories, the ring legend. The gym legends that are coming out. But you got to fight. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen the supposed boogeyman all of a sudden fall flat against. And Caleb Plant has experience, like Gonzalo keeps saying. He does have speed. He can crack. He's got experience now after having been in there with at the time with the guy that was the best fighter in the world. So it's gonna be an interesting fight for sure. Pay-per-view worthy, of course not, but it's an interesting fight nonetheless. The other thing I wanted to mention...
this is the weird thing. Can I say something just really fast to finish the kind of add to the point that you made? This is the weird thing. Look, in the beginning, like many months ago, I still believe that David Benavidez is a real good fighter, especially like when do you ever see other Mexicans or whatever nationality, 75-pounders, let their hands go like David Benavidez does. He really knows how to put them punches together. He's fluid, and that's a good thing. And he's a big guy. But if you ask me, hey, about Canelo facing Benavidez, I think Benavidez, he potentially beats Canelo. He gives him a tough fucking fight because of Canelo's stamina. Canelo's very solid in every other thing. He's a great fighter. But Canelo beats Plant, in my opinion, again, and he beat him the first time already. But when it comes to styles, Caleb Plant gives Benavidez a tough time. But then Canelo beats Plant, and does that necessarily mean that Caleb Plant's better than Canelo? No, it doesn't. But that's just what's going through my mind. It's a style thing.
And by the way, for any Johnny-come-latelys, Recognize and I were saying that 2 years ago, Benavidez is a bad style match for Canelo. Probably would beat him. But that was at the time when Benavidez was being active. Right now, he hasn't been active. We don't know how he really looks. We'll see what happens against Caleb Plant. We'll see. It's all dependent on that fight in a large regard.
And it goes to show triangle theories don't work too either, right? What you said.
Mm-hmm.
How one fighter he can beat Canelo, but yet Plant will give him a good fight. It's all styles. It just proves styles make the fights in some cases, but not all.
And also, you got to break down how the style works too, right? Because otherwise, it's just a cop-out when people go, well, styles make fights. Okay, well, what does that mean? Break it down. Elaborate a little bit more, please. But a lot of people don't do that, man.
Exactly.
All right, we got a phone call here. Let's go.
At the end, too, all it is domination. It's whoever puts their style, and puts it on the other person, makes them deal with their style. That's how it usually wins, in almost all cases.
Absolutely. Let's go to 210 here. And don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. 210, you're on the air. 210, what's on your mind?
Hey guys, y'all sound real choppy. How do I sound?
You sound good, man.
You sound clear.
Okay, I tried to make this call. This is the first time I called the show. I've been listening for a long time. I remember Jimmy from calling in from the next round, Steve Kim's show. Man, I really like this. Y'all are quickly
you're
my top one or two shows, man. So I appreciate all the content, man. Y'all bring y'all are funny, man. I just like y'all takes. But I missed most of the show, but I heard some of what's going on, and what I'm frustrated with and what I want to address is like the new narratives coming out. Like what I hope happens is I hope Canelo doesn't fight any of these guys. I hope he does his couple little farewell fights that has his shot at B-ball and then retires, because these guys need a lesson, man. All they do is wait around for the meal tickets, and there's all these guys saying he avoided Boo Boo, he's avoiding Charlo. When Charlo turned down Canelo before, Boo Boo turned down Charlo before. This guy's going 2 years inactive. He's gotten all that trouble with his girl and his finances outside the ring. That's on him, man. I mean, I think he's a cool guy, but that's on him. And I think, these guys need to be part of the lesson, because Canelo's the last of the Mohicans, man. Once he retires, boxing is going through a huge reset because there is no more stars. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, listen, we're gonna move on from the call, but listen to the answer because like you said, the call is choppy here, the connection is choppy, so it's not gonna be worth going back and forth with that type of connection. But we'll answer your question and stay tuned for the answer on the air, all right, man?
For sure.
All right, thank you for your call, man. Yeah, he's made a good point about who's the next star. A lot of these guys have it too easy, and it's making them soft, and there's no stars out there. Who's the next star? Ryan Garcia?
Well, it's socialism boxing, dude. They expect something they haven't earned. Seriously, what has Benavidez, or not so much Benavidez, but the one they're pushing now, Andrade and Charlo. Those are the ones you go on Twitter and it's just fucking, they're brutalizing Canelo for the Ryder fight. And like, dude, do you have any self-awareness? Your guy drags dudes up from 154, nobody's. He goes all 12 with fucking Montel. The other dude gets put on his ass by Martirosyan. Like, he, in 14-year professional career, and I was big on him coming out of the images, he's done nothing. Absolutely nothing. And you expect him to get that Canelo fight because he looks like you? Fuck out of here. This ain't socialism boxing. That's my point.
This ain't Cuba is what you're saying.
One time, a friend of mine, a long time ago. Sorry. Just gonna say, it just reminded me of the one time a friend of mine, a long time ago, he got killed. He was a real good fighter too, man. He was a big dude. They used to call him El Chango. He told me, you know what, Gonzalo? I never forgot. Respect is not, you can ask for respect. It's got to be given to you. And that's true, man. You can't demand to people put respect on your name. They got to offer it to you. They got to give it to you.
That's a good point, man.
It's got to be earned. Exactly, brother.
It's the same thing with opinions. When people go, well, it's my opinion, you got to respect it. No, people mistake the term there, the word. It's not respect, it's tolerate. I'll respect an opinion that's well formed and backed up by something, or that's something that's genuine, or that it's novel, or that is, original, I meant to say. But tolerate means, yeah, you got the right to say what you want. It's freedom of speech, but I don't got to respect it. You know what I mean? It's like, you could tell me you believe that you're a God. I'm going to tolerate your opinion if that's what you want to believe, but I'm not going to respect it. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with these fighters. Well, you got to respect me. Why? Because you fight for a living? There's plenty of people that walk in between the ropes and into the ring, and then they shit the bed. Does that mean they deserve respect? Well, so if that's the metric we're going for, then all you got to do is have one amateur fight or one professional fight, and boom, you were a fighter, so you deserve respect. And nobody can ever criticize you again, especially if they haven't done it. It's ridiculous to have that type of standard. Everybody is worthy of criticism, especially if it involves people watching them or paying to watch them, and then these guys just go in there and they don't deliver the goods. Sorry, it is what it is, man. Nobody forced you to become a fighter.
And PD, I think it's one of those things that you have to have like this certain aura about yourself that you can't just like say, okay, I want to be popular, and I'm gonna piggyback off this other fighter's success. Let me fight him. Okay, maybe I beat him, maybe I don't. But then all of a sudden, everybody's gonna be like, I'm gonna gain a lot of fans just because I won. You have to have something special about you that's like certain famous people, that attract the people. To like be a fan of you.
Well, that's a good point because
it'd be fucking fighting. It'd be really being a good fucking fighter, whether you speak English or not, like Pacquiao. Whether you look like a fucking Ninja Turtle, it doesn't matter.
A Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's
and Canelo fought 60 times, guys. Right? Look at the resume. Look at the people he fought. Triple G 3 times, even though the last one was a dog, but he didn't know that going in. We didn't know if Triple G still was going to bring that, and he took that on a little late. But in just Bivell stepping all the way up from a kid whose first fight was at 140 pounds. Think about that jump. That would be like fucking Errol right now going up and fighting a cruiserweight. So, it's just, but you don't see these guys do that. You don't see anybody of the people who are complaining and cutting him up, the people that they follow. You just go by that. And it's not even the fighters saying it. Well, Boo Boo's saying it, like goes in and demands a fight at the press conference. Dude, you turn down fight after fight. You get a 3-deal fight at Showtime. The fucking pinnacle of boxing thrown into your lap off a fucking deal from with Rock Nation, and you performed so horribly against guys they didn't want you to fight because both times it was somebody else they ended up fighting, wasn't too wanted the other guy, and put on stinker of performances that they were so boring, they cut him loose. They fired him. They didn't give him the third fight. And then you middle your way through the rest of the fucking thing, turning away anybody who's like the fucking Kazakhstani kid, want nothing to do with that. And then to stand there and smugly demand that the fucking kid who got that money through blood, sweat, and intestinal fortitude give you that. Yeah, okay, jump on, buddy. Fuck, dude, it sickens me. It really, that pisses me off. It has nothing to do with a fight. It's just the way the sport's gone. Like, I don't know, dude. It's bad.
It's bad, but there's still a lot of good, man. And if it just takes one guy to start leading the pack and everybody starts following his suit, we'll see what happens with that one, man. But yeah, it's interesting what makes a star. It's nobody really knows, man. Sometimes you'll get a guy like Joshua. He's got fans up the wazoo, man. People love the guy. And you don't quite know what it is. It's his personality. He's got charisma. De La Hoya, I mean, you understood why he was an action-packed fighter who could get endorsements and he had the gold medal. But sometimes you get another guy like Lomachenko. They tried pushing him. He's not a big draw. He's not a mainstream name. So it's weird, man. It's weird how sometimes you got to work at it really to get. It's a lot of luck too to try to get somebody that's mainstream.
Honest effort. Just an honest effort. If the fans see you leave everything in the ring, I mean, look at my boy Mickey, dude. Who the fuck was he? He had all those losses from his hand shattering. But ESPN kept putting him on, and fans would always show up because they knew he was giving honest effort. He wasn't mailing it in. You'd have to pretty much kill him, get him out of there. And people relate to that. You know? Just honesty, that's all.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You're absolutely right. It's an effort too. I mean, Vargas is a good example, Fernando Vargas, because he wasn't mainstream. He was a solid B-side when he was fighting against Trinidad or De La Hoya. But he's got fans, man. Whenever he goes to a fight, people flock to him because, like you said, he would give it his all. He wasn't exactly and he wasn't the most the warmest character out there. He had an edge to him, getting into street fights and all that. But people liked him. So he was
the epitome. I mean, he was the polar opposite of Oscar. Remember, that's kind of how they even advertised him. He was more from the streets. He was, Oscar was the golden boy. I remember a lot of comparisons. He was like you said, he was kind of but he did. He fought. You knew he was going to fight. He wasn't ducking anybody.
I also want to say something about that because you brought up Mickey Ward, and we were talking about how the early some people are saying it might have been an early stoppage there between what's his name, Wood and Lara. I found the article the other day. I was going through my collection here. I found the article. It was from 2005, and it was you got to put it into context. It was in the summer of 2005. For about 4 or 5 consecutive weeks, you had Costa Zoo quit against Hatton in England. You had Abdullayev quit against Cotto because he had a severely swollen eye. There was another guy, I forget the guy's name. I got the article here, but I don't want to reach for it right now. But Navarro. I don't know if you guys remember, there was an Olympian named Navarro, and he had a brother named Navarro too. He quit against Bobby Pacquiao. And then there was, there was another fight where another guy quit. So it was like, Tyson, when his final fight, when he quit against that Irish dude. So it was like 4 or 5 weeks, consecutive weekends of people quitting, and people were like, what the fuck? And they asked Mickey Ward, who was training somebody at the time, they said, hey, if somebody ever quit on you, if a fighter ever quit on you, what would you do? Or what would you say? He says, well, I would take the fighter backstage and then I would kick him in the balls. I would kick him in the balls and I would tell him, hey, I'm never training your ass again. So, yeah, it's different. Listen, some guys like Antonio Margarito, for example, his career got ruined because he kept going against Pacquiao. But at the same time, for him, it was worth it. It was worth going the distance and not getting stopped because he already been stopping as Mosley a year earlier. He didn't want to go through that again. He said, nah, fuck it, let me go. If I get killed, if I get maimed, whatever. That's right. So some people are cut different. Some people are made different. It's can't expect that from everybody. But you expect a certain amount of effort.
At least, exactly. I expect some of it from a fighter because you chose to be in the fucking profession where you're going to get punched in the face.
Exactly. Yeah, just like, there's a baseline. Some fighters, they take the way out too, man. Like there was a guy, I forget the guy's name. It was a Dominican guy. I think he fought Humberto Soto in 2008, I believe, and Soto grazed him when he dropped the guy and grazed him when he was going down. And the guy was beat up, man. He was beat up. And I mean, so when he got grazed, he said, oh, and he milked it for all it was worth. And fucking Joe Cortez, one of the worst decisions he ever made, disqualified Humberto Soto. So, yeah, some guys look for the way out, and you look at him like that and you say, man, I'm paying good money for this.
And Mr. DDA, and what it is, too, I say it all the time, there's some fighters who are just great athletes who happen to go into boxing. And then there's some guys who are just fighters, true dudes who be fighting the street, just, guys who like to fight, you know what I mean, like to get hit and really like to mess it up. That's why you see guys who, on the other hand, who are just super athletes, but their careers, once they take a loss, usually spiral because they lose that drive, like, oh man, they don't like it. You know what I mean? You see it all the time. You don't see them hang in there in big beefs.
Yeah, and you know what it is most of the time too? It's not really physical pain inside the ring, although it doesn't feel good when you're in the 11th round and the guy's beating up on you. But it's also the after effects. You got to keep in mind, a lot of these guys, veterans, for example, who are 34, 35, not quite shot, but way past their peak a little bit. And they're in there with a youngster, 20 guy 10 years younger. He's still fucking going, and you're getting tired. You got to keep up. They start remembering the after effects of the fight itself. Sometimes it's not so much the pain of what's going on in the ring. It's that holy shit, it's like, how much more can I do this? Do you wake up the next day? For example, Nery and Hovhannisyan, they snapped their heads so much. I was cringing when I watched that because I know what can happen when you get your head snapped back like that. You can't move the next day. You feel like you're paralyzed. Well, I mean, you can move, but it's just your whole body's numb and it hurts when you move, and it's disgusting, man. It really makes you wonder why anybody would choose this profession. But that's because they're crazy. But at 35, 36, when you've gotten the paydays, when you've gone through the wars, you've gone through those days in the morning where you wake up and you gotta hold on to the wall when you squat down to take a shit. That's what starts going through these guys' mind. They say, you know what? Maybe it's time I pack it in, call it a day. Sometimes that happens.
Yep.
Hey, speaking of things that are happening in youngsters who are just getting started with their, the highlight of their career, one thing we didn't talk about either in the last episode was Berlanga. Old news now, but I'm just curious to get your thoughts on him signing with Matchroom.
Well, it was the right thing to do. There's more fighters for him to fight over there, and a wider selection. So, it was kind of foreseeable, but I don't think I think he's another one. He wants to fight fucking no-hopers until he lands the big cash out. That's just my opinion. What do you think, Gonzalo?
I think Berlanga, based on his record and what I've noticed, is he's got big power, a lot of knockouts in the first round. So that means he's a strong dude. And if they're facing that strong dude, like the record reflects, it was probably against weaker opposition, guys that can be caught and knocked out early because this guy, he's fresh, he's strong in the beginning. First, second round, and we're not talking about inferior competition now, moving forward against guys that are more capable. And he can't clip these guys in the first, second round. I think he's got a stamina problem. And once that stamina problem starts kicking in, it's kind of the balance that starts tilting in the opposite direction. Now to lug your arms around, all that big muscle is gonna cost you. And you can say he can gain experience, but the last 3 fights he's fought, he hasn't got the knockouts. So it really makes you think of all those early stoppages that he had were because the competition just fucking sucked. So now we want to see him against a light body in there. But then he's not gonna get the knockouts early. That means his stamina is gonna betray him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets KO'd, man. Oh. So we're gonna see how they match him. Probably gonna end up fighting Rosado. Is he Rosado's weight class?
He's fighting, yeah, but Rosado's fighting Zurdo next.
But isn't that
okay?
ridiculous?
Yeah, but like Hater, that dude's recyclable. He's lost like 30 times. They'll never get rid of him.
That's true, man.
Didn't Berlanga knock out a bunch in the first round too? Didn't he rattle off like a shit ton of first round knockouts?
Yes. At some point
that
was
suspect too.
you're not getting any experience, that only says, yeah, you have power. But like you said, they're in the beginning of your career, they're picking guys for you to knock out. There's a reason why you didn't see those guys on television. You didn't start seeing fighters on HBO until they were in competitive fights. You're like, what the fuck wants to see somebody that you paid some dude to get beat up? You know what I mean?
Exactly,
ridiculous.
Yeah. But you know what? You know which fight I would like to see? Now that it's over at the zone, they could work with Matchroom. I mean, they can. He is with Matchroom. Make him versus Beck the Bully. Loser goes back to the line, at the end of the line, in terms of the young puncher. Because Beck the Bully they're both similar. They're both built like tanks. They don't have that much muscle definition, but you can tell that they're like those. What are the names of those trees in California that are fucking giant trees? Well, he's built like that. Those guys are built like that. They're just fucking thick. I think that's what it is. And they hit hard. I would like to see that fight. Why not, man? Who else are you gonna put Berlanga in there with? Are you gonna put him in there with Golovkin? There Munguia? Okay, good fights, but you want to put him in there against a bona fide puncher like what's his name? Beck the Bully, and see what happens. You get rid of one of them. Thin the herd. That's what I say. And by the way, can I say something?
Just the way he moves, the fights he's turned down. Yes.
Real quick, shout out to Texas Bulldog, for his contribution with the Super Chat. He says, I favor David Benavides, but shout out to Plant. The man is fearless. Yeah, shout out to Texas Bulldog for his contribution, and shout out to Plant. Yeah, man, he wanted this fight 2 years ago, and he's getting it. But yes, Jimmy, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. It slipped my mind now, dude. Probably
Berlanga.
Sorry. It'll come back to
Berlanga versus Beck the Bully, Berlanga versus Munguia.
Oh, yes, the way he moves. Yeah, no, just the way he moves and in the decisions he's made. And remember, Top Rank fired him because he kept turning down fights. Like anybody that would, and Bob doesn't try to I'm going to give you so much time. I've paid you money. I've lost money on you. I've invested. You're filling some rooms up at the small place in Madison Square Garden. Puerto Ricans will always do well in Madison Square Garden. And but here I am now it's just time to turn it up, and you're turning everything down. So that tells me and then the things that come out of his mouth, he really he would want the Canelo fight next. He's already even said it. I'd take Canelo. So I don't think he looks like the type of dude who doesn't want to train that hard. You hear stories that he's lazy. He doesn't like to put in the fucking work. So yeah, I think he's around for a good time, not a long time.
Remember what he said? I read this quote a couple of episodes ago where he said he wanted bigger fights. That's what he said. But so the names that they were giving him, he was turning them down because he felt he was above them. And he said, he poo-pooed the Jesse Hart fight. But I'm thinking, and I said this in that episode, I said, if you're struggling with Steve Rolls and a guy that Billy Joe Saunders knocked out as well, that Argentinian guy, Casares, I believe was his name, or Casares, and if you're also going the distance with a fucking old Angulo, who Benavides stopped, so we're seeing a pattern. Benavides stopped Angulo, Berlanga couldn't. Billy Joe Saunders stopped the Argentinian guy, Berlanga couldn't. Golovkin stopped Steve Rolls, Berlanga couldn't. So is he really that big a puncher? And now he's asking for John Ryder and Canelo? I mean, he's asking for a loss straight up at this point. So yeah, man, you're right, Jimmy. He's got a lot on his plate. He should finish what he has on his plate first before he starts trying to move down to the buffet line. That's all I'm saying.
And it's kind of it's real easy to pick up on the blueprint to beat this guy. Basically, just stay away from his power in 2-3 rounds. The first few rounds, stay away from him, and then he's gonna fucking fall apart. Then you go for the knockout.
And I don't even think he's that good.
He straight up looks bad sometimes.
Exactly, and I don't even think he's got that great a chin either. I think someone's gonna take him out via knockout. It's not just gonna be outboxing. Someone's gonna fucking put him on the canvas.
Hey, what happened to that kid who got sparked out by Rosado? That kid Rosado sparked out, who was number one ranked. He was on the guy. Has he fought it? Has he fought again?
The guy I mentioned. That's the guy I said I wanted to see against Berlanga, Beck the Bully. He's fought a couple of times since then, but...
Oh, okay, yes, that's the name. Okay, Buck, that's his name. No, exactly, that's why you're saying him. That'd be a perfect matchup, actually.
Yeah,
loser leaves down.
You got the redwoods are really tall, but the sequoias are really thick and rotund.
Exactly.
There you go.
Gonzalo knows.
Hey, shout out to Rafael Garza for his contribution with the super chat. He says Canelo versus Ryder because Dudu docked Zach, and the Dudu is a mom jump no, excuse me. And Dudu dug Janibek, plus Dudu's mom jumped Eddie Hearn, demanding the payday for her son. Oh, come on. Rafael, it was all going well until you had to go there with the mother thing. But shout out to Rafael Garza for his contribution. And shout out to Virtuoso for his contribution with Super Chat. He says, Berlanga KO'd Desmond Nichols, Andrade couldn't. Yeah, man, but that's because Andrade he doesn't even fit in this conversation. When we're talking Golovkin, we're talking Billy Joe Santos Benavides. Boo Boo doesn't really factor into that one. But hey, listen, fellas. What's that?
There's some dangerous dudes there that nobody mentions, and I mean, those guys will like knock out Berlanga, like Gongora and Craig Richards, the guy that gave Bivol a real tough fight, the Spider, Craig Richards. I don't know why they don't get big fights, but or you know, they're seen as contenders, by the way, because they put up good fights against other 68 pounders.
Billy Joe would box that kid's fucking head off.
Yeah. Prime Billy Joe, the one that was in there against Canelo. Yeah, I think he would. Can you guys hear me?
I can now. I just heard you ask.
Sorry about that. It's because the
I couldn't
connection
for a minute.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's because the connection. I'm looking at it now. It's starting to falter. So we're at the 2-hour mark. Actually, we're past the 2-hour mark. So I think it's about that. Now that the connection is going up and down, I think that's a sign for us to end it. So we'll be back this week to cover the fight next Saturday's fights. And Sunday's fights, I believe, as well. We're going to have Matias versus Jeremiah Ponce on Showtime. Jamal James also going to be fighting in that one. He's an interesting character to watch. And then the next day, the biggest fight of the year, Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. Come on, guys. Come on. That's A-star level right there.
I'm interested in that.
Well, there you go, man. So you guys stay tuned.
I really am. But I'm really interested in the outcome of that fight.
How many rounds is it?
It's 10, I believe. Yeah, 10 rounds, cruiserweight.
10, yes.
Okay, that's better.
I'm not even joking when I say I'm interested in that fight. I really am. I'm interested in the outcome. There's a lot on the line. You know what I mean? Like, that's if Tommy Fury loses, I can't see what his father is. He's probably going to kick him out of his life. Well, I don't even think he was my kid anyway. He don't look like none of my other sons. Because, I mean, that would be a bad look for him to lose to that fucking YouTube kid.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And we'll talk more about that fight.
I'm not interested in the way of boxing. Yeah.
I know, man. I know. But anyway, listen, we'll talk more about that fight later on this week. Thanks to everybody. First of all, thanks to everybody on the panel. Thanks for Jimmy to dropping by, Gonzalo, Bucho. You guys are the best. It was good talking with you as always. Shout out to everybody that joined via this.
It's been 2 hours. Mr. BD, I got to say real quick, I got to get back to Twitter. I want to make sure I didn't miss the announcement, the Garcia Davis announcement.
Come on, man. You're being
okay, guys.
Jimmy's being sarcastic. Well, listen, we'll talk more about that later this week. Hopefully by Wednesday or Tuesday.
You said Matias is fighting next week, BD?
All right, hold on, because there's a delay between you guys and I got to end the show. But so, real quick, so shout out to you guys on the panel for joining us. Really appreciate it. Jimmy, Gonzalo, Bucho, always good talking boxing with you. Shout out to everybody that called via the phone lines, everybody that donated via the super chat, and everybody that called in on StreamYard, and of course, everybody that joined us here and listened to us. Shout out to, excuse me. Shout out to Rafael Garza for his contribution with the super chat. He says, it's true, Mr. BDA. Dudu's mom is on YouTube giving Eddie Hearn a tongue lashing, and right after that, Dudu was gone. Come on. I'll have to check that out, Rafael, because I don't remember that. But shout out to Rafael. Shout out to Vince Vegas, Reverend Pickles, Team Batman Boxing, Tommy Parkey, One Foot Out the Door, Dennis F. from Boston, King KO, The Iceman, and everybody else, guys. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. We'll catch you next episode, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Go check out the Second Renaissance as well. We're putting up some good videos there. Or Butch's putting out some short videos. Catch you on the next one, fellas. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.